Hello, 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 hello. What's up, guys? How you doing? I hope all of you guys are doing well on this fine, what is it today, Monday? On this fine Monday evening. Guys, it's been a while. It feels like it's been a while. I know we had a stream like last chapter or whatever, but sorry I couldn't do the I know spoilers are out by now probably, but I couldn't do the break week theory review stream last week during the actual break week. And let me get my mic adjusted. This is probably better. But I did get some time today to do it. So for everyone that's here, thank you for stopping by the stream. I know that everyone's itching to jump into theory review, but it has been a minute, so I do want to take like, I don't know, maybe the first 20 minutes of the stream, maybe less, just catching up with you guys, talking about updates with the channel, plans for future videos, things like that. I just want to do a little bit of catching up at the beginning of the stream, so anyone who's watching this as a VOD, feel free to just skip ahead. I'm sorry, I know some people get on my case who are like, oh, just start already, start the chapter, start the theory review. Guys, I get it, I totally understand, but I do want to catch up with you guys because it has been a minute. Yeah, no beard, I shaved the beard. My wife just came back from a trip to Japan, so I had to shave. I was looking a little bit homeless. I didn't want to welcome her home with a full, I don't know, like a full ass beard. Would have been surprised. Would have been a little too shocking. I think she would have had a heart attack the moment she walked into the front door. The beard is hidden. What's up, Chance? Let me just say hi to my my regulars in here. All of my goats. What's up, Tosmorn? What's up, Chance? What's up, Chaozu, Atlas, Johannes, my boys? How's it going, everyone? Level 10 Bidoof. What's up? I saw Toby in there roasting. He said I could have been at the gym with him today. I was actually at the gym. I was actually at the gym all day. I was just at my boxing gym. I wasn't at the one that we usually go to, but I was at my boxing gym for like 4 hours. I was there since 12. How's it going? How's it going, K Maya? How's it going, Bloody Oranges? What's up, guys? MFZ bitch, how's it going? Duarte, how you doing, my man? Jank Master. I'm D Goat. Yes, you are. Killer Comedy. What's up, bro? Killer, I feel like I haven't seen you in a minute, bro. Welcome back to the stream, brother. I'm glad to have you here. I feel like it's been so long. Any of the other homies here? Anyone I recognize? I recognize all of you guys have been here at some point. I saw Hype Master. Hi, what's up, Hype Master? How you guys doing? I look like I got the pump today. Thanks, bro. I've been actually working crazy hard. So yeah, I guess we'll start with that on the catch up, right? Let's catch up a little bit. So I've been those of you that have been following me on Twitter know what I've been up to. Oh, what's up, Parvision? How you doing, bro? Moog, what is up, bro? I feel like this is overdue. There you go, Moog. Need an extra mod. So yeah, I've the update. Oh, Chance with the 5 gifted memberships. My goat. Let me get the member. Where's the member video? Here it is. Welcome! Tasmorn, Shaggy, Mooglatab, 419 Bungo, and MFC Bitch. Welcome to the members of Hidden Island. What's up? I gotta get the music back there. Yeah, so I've been busy. I mean, the last month I haven't uploaded many videos. Ever since the charity stream, I've kind of been just taking it easy. I know I said I've had all this stuff planned, and I kind of have this tendency to like set myself up to like do big plans, but then sometimes I just don't have it in me to like make the video. I don't know, like I've had a lot of work in progress videos over the past 2 months that have not made it to the final stages, and I've just scrapped them. I had a buggy video I was working on that I haven't given up on yet, but I have a buggy video I've wanted to make. I have an Akainu video I want to make. I have a Nami video I want to make. I have a theory I want to make. We'll get to that in a bit, but I have a lot of like videos I've started on and I just haven't finished them. And I don't know what it is, if it's like a writer's block or a confidence thing or what, or like maybe it's been too long since I've put something up, but it's been really hard to figure out the next video. So I guess we'll talk about that. We could talk about that now. Here, let me pull this up. So I put up a poll recently. A lot of you guys, I'm assuming, caught that. It had like 1K votes. Yeah, I put a poll up and basically saying, you know, I know I've been on a hiatus, guys. You know, it's been long enough. I want to do a video soon. I want to get an upload out there soon. We're almost at 30K. It would be a shame not to have something up on subs. So like, you know, the results came in. As I predicted, theory video was the most requested thing from people, or the thing that people wanted to see the most. I do have some theories up the sleeve, or like the beginnings or the makings of some theories up the sleeve. I have one in particular that I think could reach mega theory levels. Like, I have a potential mega theory in the works. I just haven't developed it enough yet to call it that yet. But all I will say is it's related to time travel and time. And I know as bad as that can sound, like the way it can, like time travel stuff can go really weird, right? I know it can be done poorly, but it's not exactly about time travel. It's more about time shenanigans. And I have a big theory about that, or the workings of one. So, yeah, so I will take these results into account. I do think the next video is probably going to be this theory. If not, it's going to be a character analysis. It really depends on which one I'm able to write more for, or like quicker. What's up, Dak? I didn't notice you. Thanks for stopping by, brother. Killer Comedy said, the way you navigate your videos is like a well thought out verse. We see the rap inspiration in the videos, and the cadence and flow always comes through. Thank you, man. Thank you. Yeah, I try, and I was actually in talks with a musician about making custom music for the channel, because he noticed too that I do time what I say sometimes with the music that I have in the background, and this musician came to me with this, and his name is Anton, a really cool guy. Anton, if you're watching this, what's up, bro? But he was talking to me about composing music, like original music for my videos, which I think would be a really cool thing. So that's something that's kind of like in the works right now. I'm going back and forth with him on Discord. We're figuring out how we're going to work on these compositions. I actually have a bunch of years of music theory under my belt. I have a lot of years of, not a lot, but I have a bunch of years of composition under my belt too. So I think it's going to be really interesting. We might come up with some cool stuff. He's going to be doing a lot of the heavy lifting in terms of writing the music, but he's obviously going to be bouncing everything off me. So it's going to be interesting to see what we come up with. I think it's going to boost the videos. It's going to make them even better with an original OST, something that isn't, you know, locked to copyright. We can make it sound more One Piece-esque if we want to. You know, a lot of cool things we can do with that. Duarte says, I just wish you would churn out more videos, less researched and produced, just food for thought, or what I've been working on that could add visibility but keep us entertained. I understand, bro. I totally get it. This has been the biggest dilemma with my channel, is like figuring out whether or not I want to go that route. Do I want to go the route of the like weekly upload type of channels where they're just putting out a video every week? It could be about whatever, and it doesn't have to be the most well-developed idea. I'm not saying that's a bad thing. It's just different from what I've been doing. And I'm not sure how well that would play with my audience. I mean, I know you guys, you know, like the videos I make, but I've tried to put out more like, I don't know, like simple videos or shorter videos, and they're just not as popular. So, you know, it's been tough. It's like, you know, the big long videos are what my channel is known for. The major videos are, you know, the long, well-researched stuff. That's kind of like my brand at this point. So it's tough to do a total 180 on that. But I would love to. And what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to make more videos. I would love to make a lot of videos, like one video a week, and it doesn't even have to be like a theory or analysis. I would be down to just do chapter discussions. Like when the new chapter comes out, I see a lot of YouTube channels, they do like a chapter review or a discussion. I was thinking about doing that. So I might bring those into the what is it, the schedule or the loop. Ismail, thank you so much for the 3,300. Is that the Egyptian currency? Thank you for that, bro. He said, "Yo, Hidden, would my theories to be reviewed by you? Just launched my YouTube channel. Can any of the mods guide me through how to get that reviewed? Also waiting on the new theory of everything." Thank you so much, bro. I do want to get that theory of everything done. That's one of the theories I have in the belt that I want to do. I want to remake that theory with updated info. So that might be coming up this summer. But if you want to, first off, glad to hear that you started your YouTube channel. Best of luck. I do wish you a lot of luck on that, and I'm happy to give some advice. Real quick pointers, I would say. Definitely, the dilemma I'm going through right now between like high quality, well researched, or just consistent uploads. You definitely, especially in the beginning, I would say it's better to lean more on the side of consistent uploads. I think that's just better for getting you the initial momentum and traction. I feel like it's harder to get momentum and traction as a new channel if you put all this time into one really long or two really long, well-researched videos that might not even reach anyone. It's better to just like kind of put out a bunch of decent or like shorter videos in the beginning to get the ball rolling. So that's one piece of advice I would offer. If you want to show your theory on the channel, I would happily welcome that. Just in the Discord, it's linked in the description. It should be. Just hop in there, and in the Promote Yourself channel, post your theory, and along with the theory, just say that you want this to be on theory review, and then I'll add it to the running playlist. Mar, thank you for the €5, bro. He said, "A wizard is never late, nor is he early. He arrives precisely when he means to." I don't know. I just needed something to write in here. Like the stream. Thank you, man. Yeah, you know what? You're right. I mean, like when it comes to the videos, that's the mentality I've always had. I've always been like, when it's ready, it's ready. If I don't have a good video to put up, I'm not going to force it. When I have a video that's ready to go and I know it's fire, I'm going to put it up. No question about it. But it's like, that's the thing. That's what I'm on right now. It's like a when it's ready type of thing. And unfortunately, that meant for the last 2 months, I've kind of just not been ready to make anything or upload anything. Yeah, Moog, that's a good point. Morge and Randy's chapter reviews are weekly content that works because they actually have interesting thoughts, so you got that covered. Thank you, man. Yeah, I think I could pull off making interesting weekly chapter reviews, and I saw some people were voting for that too. I was surprised. Yeah, chapter discussion videos got decent amount of support here. The least of the 3 options I suggested, but that's still, coming from a channel whose focus is these two, I'm not surprised. But chapter discussion, it got more support than I thought it would. So I might start rolling those out. But yeah, I mean, it has been a while. It has been a while, but we're back in action. My goal right now is to get the ball rolling and get the channel, like, get some momentum back on the channel for August. That's the plan. August is going to be the month for getting the ball rolling again. We're gonna hit 30,000 subscribers in August, and then we're gonna start pumping out videos from there. So maybe the chapter reviews are gonna be what we do. Killer Comedy, you're a legend, bro. Thank you so much for the 5 gifted memberships. I appreciate that, man. Welcome The Will of Dreams. Welcome Savage 1Y. Welcome Frogman. Or no, that's Savagely, right? I'm an idiot. Welcome Savagely, welcome Frogman, welcome Free AZ, and welcome Jankmaster. Welcome to the crew, my boys. Dun, 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 dun. Welcome. All right. But yeah, I mean that's it. What I've been up to in the break, like while I've been away, I've been on my kind of like on my hiatus from YouTube. What I've been working on myself. I've been boxing. So I was saying this earlier. For those who've been following me on Twitter, you've been seeing my I've been calling it my battleship bags videos. These are my logs. I've been posting these not really as a way to like I don't know, like it's not like like just showing myself boxing. It's more of like a way to hold myself accountable. The point of this has been basically if I commit to something and I have people expecting me to do something, it's a lot easier to force myself to go and do it. So I've been trying to keep like a semi-daily or like daily log of my boxing journey, and I started really like trying to learn boxing like 3 months ago, and then I started going for like personal coaching and lessons. I started going for that about 2 months ago now, and I've been taking some lessons. I've been working on my stuff, but I've been basically posting these videos as a means to like hold myself accountable. And what else? Oh, and get tips from people, like get pointers. You know, there's a lot of people that have been coming into my comments and leaving me some great pointers, and I've been, you know, obviously cross-referencing them with stuff that I know from elsewhere, or that I've learned or heard from other professionals. So I'm definitely taking the best of the advice that people are giving me. If you're interested in following me on this Battleship Bags boxing adventure, follow me on Twitter. I have been posting like once every other day, just posting, you know, my updates on that. Hey, yo, what's up, Randy? Randy Choi hopping in the chat. What's up, brother? Thank you for being here, man. Wow, we got so many goats in here today. Damn, this is awesome. Keep up the Battleship bagging. Thank you, man. Yeah, so I was inspired. I was inspired by Garp. You know, I was inspired more so by Kobe. Now, every time I'm like, oh, man, I'm too tired. I'm too tired to hit the bag. I'm too tired to go work out today. I just think about fucking Kobe. This has been, I swear to God, I'm not even bullshitting. This is not me being a cringe One Piece fan or something, like just like making it up. I'm being dead serious, guys. Like every time, even this morning, I was getting out of bed and I was like, do I want to go to the boxing gym today? I was like, damn, I have a stream later. Like, I don't want to be exhausted. And then I thought about Kobe. And I was like, man, Kobe would be at the gym right now. He would be hitting that bag right now. You know? You know what I mean? Like, Kobe's like, if I don't train, like, I can't protect anyone. The way I see it is like, if I don't train, I can't protect myself. So, yeah. So I've been committed. I've been doing my best. So thank you to all the people on Twitter who have been supporting this, who've been, you know, like, who've been really showing me some love and making recommendations, giving me pointers. And this is actually what the point of this that I wanted to get into was that I've made the decision that I'm going to start Hajime no Ippo soon. A lot of people have been telling me, because they know I've been on the boxing thing and I've been like working on that, they've been saying, bro, you got to read Hajime no Ippo. You got to try it. You'll love that manga. And I've decided that it's time. I will start Hajime. I will do it. I will do it. I don't know if I'm going to do it on stream. I don't know if I'm going to do it on members VODs. I don't know if I'm going to be honest. I'm more tempted to just go through it at my own pace and then just post updates on Twitter, like X. My bad. I'm going to post my updates on X. And as I'm going through the story, that's how I'm going to start. And if I'm really getting into it, like if I'm getting obsessive, like into Ippo, then I'll start maybe streaming my reactions as it gets hype. Vinland Saga it's not on pause. I'll be honest about the Manga Mondays. They get like what? Like I upload the members VOD, and even with like at the time I had like 200 members or so, and only like 10 people watch the VOD. And it's not to say that those 10 views don't matter, because I do really appreciate every person that goes out of their way to watch the content. It's just after a certain point, you have to like judge whether or not it's worth the work that goes in, right? Because if no one's like if it's only reaching a handful of people, that work, the time I spent doing that could be used on something else that more people are going to enjoy. So the way I think I want to go about reading other manga and going through new series is I'm going to work on them on my own pace, and then I'm just going to post updates online, mostly on Twitter, maybe in the Discord, let you guys know how the series is going, how I'm liking it. I'll post panels to show what I'm reacting to. I think that's the most comfortable way to go about it, that's going to not get in the way of work. But yeah, so I'm definitely gonna do Ippo soon, so I want to start that. And yeah, what else do we got? I have a few things on the intro for the stream I wanted to talk about. Oh, another thing, dead soon. I saw your recommendation at the beginning of the stream for that theory. I know someone told you to do it already. Please drop that video, that theory, in the Promote Yourself channel in my Discord. I'll add that to the list. If it has English translation, that would be great. I do understand enough of Spanish to be able to probably watch it and get away with it, but obviously, you know, that's not... it's not just me watching it, it's everyone. So I would like to... if it has an English translation, that would be great. Yes, and lastly, before we get to start our theory review for the day, future stream ideas. Yeah, so I wanted to start ramping up our streams every week. So in the past, I did Manga Monday on Mondays. Like I just said, I'm not going to be doing Manga Monday as much anymore, if not at all. So I want to replace that. I don't want to just get rid of it. I want to replace it. So what that means is I'm going to come up with some fun theory ideas, or not theory ideas, fun stream ideas. And I'm going to try and get an extra stream in every week on top of the chapter reactions. So this could be like, you know, making a tier list. It could be just discussing a character for the day. It could be a collab. It could be a number of things. But the goal is going to be to get like a bonus One Piece related stream in every week that's not the chapter reaction. So that's the last thing. And I think what I want to do is maybe at the end of the stream, we can come up with some like fun ideas. What do you guys want to see me stream? What do you guys want to see me do? Maybe one day we do a One Piece video game. Another day we do a tier list. Another day we do whatever. So I think it'd be really cool at the end of the stream if, you know, whoever sticks around by the end, if you want to brainstorm some good ideas, we could do that. And then I'm just going to be going through those over the next month. So yeah, that's pretty much it. Those are all the updates for the channel and my life right now. My wife was in Japan for the last month. So that was a really long month. I kind of just used the whole month to better myself. And now I'm feeling good. I'm in shape. I lost some weight. I'm much stronger now. I've like doubled the number of pull-ups I can do. So I'm getting there. I'm feeling good, basically, is what I'm trying to say. So this last month has been good. My wife's back as of yesterday. So life is back to normal in my household here, and I'm ready to get back to doing One Piece stuff. So yeah, that's pretty much, those are all the updates I got for today. And with that being said, I'm pretty much ready to do theory review, guys. So in that case, or in this case, whatever, I don't even know how to talk right now. Let me explain what today's theory review is going to be. This is actually going to be a different one than usual. So usually the way theory review would work, we have a running playlist that we shuffle, and then we pull up a random theory and we watch that random theory. However, today is the 5th episode of Theory Review. I like round numbers. I like to do special things on round numbers. So let's do a special one today. My man Marshall D. Preach, he featured me in one of his recent videos. He reached out to me a little over a month ago and asked me to, you know, send in a theory for a video he was working on. And I gave him the Usopp theory. We're going to probably skip over my segment because you guys already obviously know the theory. But there's 9 other theories. This is the 10 best One Piece theories featuring your favorite YouTubers. This is an hour-long video, okay? But it's filled with 10 entire ass theories. Well, 9, not including mine. 9 entire ass theories. Just 9 One Piece theories in one video. That sounds crazy hype to me, and I thought it would be fun if we just... And I'm pretty sure each theory is explained by their respective YouTuber. So it's not one person talking the whole video. It's like each segment is a YouTuber gets to explain their theory. And I haven't watched the other theories in this video. I know one of them is Dax Pluton is a mole theory. So we are going to watch that again because I do want to, I would love the refresher on that. And it's also just a banger theory. But yeah, so we're going to go through this whole fucking video and we're going to talk about all the theories in it. And I'm going in blind for the most part. I don't know what any of these are. And I thought it would also be cool because I'm pretty sure, I'm not entirely sure, but I'm assuming at least one of these theories has to be from a YouTuber that's maybe not too well known. So this would be a good opportunity to maybe get their voice heard a little bit, get their theory out there. So we're just going to work through it. So yeah, we're going to do this video today. Before we do that, I'm just going to take a couple minutes, just answer what people are saying in the chat, and then we'll get rolling. Let's see. What have people been saying? I see a lot of people showing support for my fitness journey. I'll be honest, I don't like when people call it a fitness journey. That's like a pet peeve of mine, but I don't really have another word for it, so I kind of just have to. But yes, I appreciate all the support, guys. You guys are very too kind to me, honestly. I'm not even there yet. I've just started. Send the praise in like 6 months if I maintain it. If I maintain the routine, that's when I think I'll have earned it. But no, seriously, thank you guys. JoJo's, yeah, I do have to do that. There's a new chapter that I missed. I haven't gotten to that. Izaz says, Hidden, I think you'll like Epo. I think you'll like Steins Gate too. I'm a big fan. I love Steins Gate. I'm on that already, man. I actually have to check out Steins Gate 0. That's one that I haven't seen. So I don't know anything about 0, but I know about Steins Gate. I even bought the visual novel, and I never got around to playing the VN because I just don't have time. But I really do enjoy that series. And I'll be honest, guys. I think Steins Gate is a series that Netflix needs to adapt into live action. They're picking like really tough series to adapt with like huge fantasy elements that are going to require a lot of CG. And I'm not just talking about One Piece. Historically, Netflix has chosen more popular series that tend to be more on the fantasy shonen side of things in the anime realm. They could honestly go with some more down-to-earth series. I think Steins Gate is not hard to pull off. Most of the show takes place in like one room. It's like you could do most of it. You could do all of like season 1 in like one room. Like there's no. It would be like a lock. I think Steins Gate would make for a great live action. Dax says the other day I wasn't gonna go for a run or anything because it was so hot, but I saw your Battleship bag post and I laced up and got 3 or 4 miles, and not even kidding. I fucking love that. Thank you for telling me that, Dak. That makes me want to continue posting them. Thank you. As long as the posts, even if they're just motivational for other people and they get other people to like get up and do a workout for the day, that's awesome. Like I would love to just be that motivation for like anyone. If they need that like extra excuse to get out of bed and go do something, like I need that sometimes, you know? And I have a friend who is, he's a weightlifter, and he's a sick weightlifter. He's like an absolute beast. He's like one of the best weightlifters in New York. And I see almost every day. He's actually the one that inspired me to start posting on my Battleship Bags series. I see him like every day on Twitter, or like every other, or not on Twitter, Instagram, every other day, just benching crazy numbers, working, like busting his ass. And I see that on Instagram. I'm just like, I'm scrolling in the morning or whatever, and I see that, and it like sometimes it just gets me going. Like it makes me want to go work. It makes me want to go do something. So, you know who you are. Love you, bro. Thank you for the inspiration, and I hope I can pay it forward in that way. I hope other people get that from me. I want a live action monster. Live action monster would be crazy. That would be crazy. Oh, yeah, Atlas. I didn't say who it was. It's one of my IRL friends, but all I can say is he's an absolute Chad. He is jacked out of his mind, and he's also studying to be a neurosurgeon. So the man is not only like a genius, but he's also just shredded. So just constant inspiration. I'm trying to do the same thing myself. Trying to like read a book at least once a week and work out like most of the week. And if I can just keep doing that, bros, it's over. I'm gonna be next level. Nothing's gonna stop me. Enough about me though. Anyway, that's enough. Let's get to the main event. One Piece theory review. Everyone, we are going to watch this video by Marshall D. Preach. Once again, shout outs to Preach. He is a homie, and thank you for pulling up to the charity stream, Preach. That was really cool. Let's watch this video. 10 best One Piece theories featuring your favorite YouTubers. Let's go.
It's time for some One Piece theories. Because of One Piece's decade-long mysteries and tendency to drop clues and hints, foreshadowing reveals years in advance, One Piece theories have become a core part of the One Piece community. We all love a good One Piece theory. Some of us like a more plausible theory that seems so likely and jam-packed with foreshadowing and evidence that it feels like whoever came up with it has Oda's leaked script in their back pocket. Others are so wacky, insane, ridiculous, and completely out there, but somehow still make you think, you know what, it's just so crazy that it could be true. And as you can tell by some of our hours of theory videos on our channel, we love One Piece theories as well. We love making them, we love watching them, and we love discussing them. You know, I know this might sound corny, but the one thing about making a One Piece YouTube channel that I love even more than theories is the friends I've made along the way. Of course you guys, but also so many amazing One Piece content creators. And this is where I came up with an idea. What if I did one—
Let me just say, that's actual facts. I had someone reach out to me recently asking for like some tips on like starting a channel and like, you know, like getting started basically. And I wrote them like a big thing. But one of like the last tips I left in there was just like, find people that you vibe with, you know, have fun with it. There's a lot of cool people in the community. It's good to like make connections and make friends with people. Always good to be social and just, you know, the One Piece community is really full of a lot of cool people. And I think it's anyone that's looking to start a channel, obviously, first and foremost, like make your content, focus on growing, focus on being, you know, the best content creator you can be if that's what you want to do. But I also think like have fun with it, man. Socialize. There's a lot of cool people out there, and Preach is right about that, man. That's like one of the things that keeps me coming back. It's the community.
Or-sized mega collab.
At least you guys, not Twitter. Twitter community is something else. That pushes me away, Twitter community, but that's, yeah, whatever.
To each present one theory to create the greatest One Piece theory video ever. So without further ado, I present to you 10 insane One Piece theories featuring the best One Piece theorists. Alright, so before we jump into the first big theory, I have a bit of a quick surprise theory for us. Because recently, after gathering the evidence, I've come to the conclusion that Atlas VPN is a true hero. A hero even surpassing the Great Garb D Fist.
Atlas, whenever you want to rediscuss numbers, you can hit me up again. I didn't like what we got, what we ended on last time. I wasn't a fan of that. But feel free to hit me up if you got a better number next time, Atlas.
VPN for the ridiculously low price. Big things that Atlas—
ridiculously low price Atlas was offering me. Atlas, I need a bigger number. I'm serious, guys. I have multiple videos over 100K on the channel. You got to give me a better number than what you gave me, Atlas.
VPN for sponsoring the video and coming in close. Now let's jump into our first—
if Atlas VPN ever watches the stream, I'm just telling you, I wasn't a fan.
This first theory comes from a very special guest, an amazing energy and positive light on the entire One Piece community. Every time I've spoken with her, she's always been so kind. And when it comes to theories, she's one of the most underrated in the One Piece community. So let's check out what Joy Girl has cooked up for us.
The Gorosei and Imu have been the source for many a speculation over the years, especially when it comes to their strength and abilities. But with recent reveals hinting at the nature of their insane powers, there has never been a more perfect time to wonder what sort of abilities these scary figures are hiding. Chapter 1085 in particular, sparking a number of theories such as that Imu can either control ink or shadows, or the reveal—
not Atlas 100, Atlas VPN, Atlas, you're chill. Not Atlas VPN, different story.
All the Gorosei's planetary names in chapter 1086, leading some to believe this will mean Imu represents the Earth. But I have another idea in mind. Hello my Nakamatachi, this is Joy Girl, and my latest theory is that Imu has the space fruit. We've recently discovered that Imu refers to themselves in third person. The term mu meaning void, emptiness, or nothing. And in my opinion, one way that this could be interpreted is that Imu represents the void, but by that, I mean Imu represents the vast expanse of outer space, which after all is an almost perfect vacuum, nearly void.
Instead of Gaia, because everyone was on Imu as Gaia in the planet thing, but I could see that being like, no, Imu is like space, like actually the void that the planets are in is Imu. That's cool. That's
word
cool.
vacuum, shall we? Because I think this is the most perfect way to describe what we witnessed during the scuffle at Marijois. Sabo goes for the attack, his flames making a beeline towards Imu, only for his flames to quickly disappear, almost as if Imu devoured them. And well, if Imu's ability is in fact space related, thereby meaning he's a near perfect vacuum, devouring
No
Sabo's
oxygen.
flames sounds just about right. The incredible low pressure and absence of oxygen means that most elements and organisms, including fire, cannot survive in space, which would be fitting for an evil guy like Imu, who is increasingly giving final boss. In fact, in a world like One Piece where we have countless elemental based abilities, a power inspired by space seems to be the perfect way to rule over all those abilities.
I like this, Joy Girl. I like this idea. I'm going to let you finish, of course. But let me just say, I think that would be really cool. And one idea, one like image I have in my mind right now is remember in Punk Hazard when Caesar like fought Luffy, and what was it? Was it he removed the oxygen from the air so Luffy couldn't breathe? I could see so like a parallel. Obviously, it'd be really it'd be fucking funny for like the parallel moment to Emu's power being Caesar Clown. But I'm just saying, like the imagery of maybe like because we know that like some of those things kind of like get done again or brought back in some capacity. I'm not saying it would happen 1-to-1, but I could see an interesting thing where that maybe gets referenced or played back to because like Luffy might remember how like I was robbed of oxygen this one time. Like I don't know. I'm just that I could see that being a cool thing like to play into the space idea.
This would also obviously mean that the planetary theme we have with the Gorosei and the ancient weapons is still relevant, or even Luffy's Sun God Devil Fruit. And here's where things get really interesting. While outer space can be a very ominous, overwhelming force that not much else can overcome or survive, something that is able to withstand the extreme environments of outer space and is an important element used for aerospace inventions is rubber. In fact, a refinement of synthetic rubber was a big factor in making it possible for humans to reach the moon, meaning that Imu's natural enemy would be none other than Monkey D. Luffy with his Gomu Gomu no Mi. And if we're to look at it from a space perspective, Luffy's Devil Fruit as Sun God Nika is also relevant, because the sun is the brightest natural object in our solar system, providing light against the dark, limitless expanse of space, meaning that as the holder of a Devil Fruit that has both the elastic properties of rubber and an awakened form of the sun god Nika, Luffy definitely would be the biggest threat against Imu and their space-related abilities. And isn't that a new way to consider what the Gorosei meant when they said that Luffy has the most ridiculous power in the world? But that's it from me. We'll see how long it takes for Imu's power to be fully revealed.
Thank you so much, Joy Girl. I really do like that theory. And I know you said Emu is giving final boss energy, but I can't help but to wonder how crazy it would be if Blackbeard got his hands on this space fruit as his third and final devil fruit.
Okay, so actually that's a really good point. I feel like maybe the darkness fruit might already kind of fit that. I don't know. It's not the same thing. It's definitely not. The darkness fruit is more of like a gravitational power, like a black hole type of thing, right? Because, you know, he literally has a power that lets him like store things inside like a void, like a black hole. But I wonder, would that be redundant? Because Blackbeard is also like an end game villain, like we can debate all day as to whether or not he's the final villain, but it would be a little redundant, no, to have like the gravitational darkness fruit and then a separate space fruit. That is the one reservation I have, but I like the way you're thinking, Joy Girl. I think this is a definitely a possible answer. What are the other alternatives? I mean, like Emu could be like people were saying like an ink-based power, but like a meta manga ink type thing where it's like Emu can literally control what's on the page. That's also a cool idea. Personally, as much as I like One Piece, like the idea of One Piece getting meta, I do like more grounded stuff like this, where it's just a power that works within the bounds of the world that Oda has created. And you have all the elder planets and all the ancient weapons named after planets and gods and all that stuff, and they're called like the Godhead. You know, it's like I could definitely see like a space thing being worked in there. And hey, look, if we have a space devil fruit, then Space Piece is like way more likely. I mean, the odds that we actually go into outer space or do something outer space related in that scenario, way more likely. So I hype that.
Taking it from Emu and pairing it with this Yami Yami no Mi, because that would be busted. But regardless, I love the idea of a space fruit, and it just makes sense for it to be in the hands of someone as powerful like Emu. Up next, we have an amazing friend of the channel. A lot of you guys don't notice, but I've noticed.
You know what, Moog, I don't even know how you could explain that, but if you make a video on it, I don't know how does that even make sense? Blackbeard has that fruit. What do you Bro, Ismail, thank you so much, homie. I don't know how much that is in American dollars, but it looks like a lot. Thank you, man. That hold on. Let me get a hold on. Thank you, bro. He said like the stream. You could put like a whole ass question. Let's take the time to answer whatever question you got, my friend. Thank you, man. I appreciate that so much. Holy shit. Hold on.
The One Piece! The One Piece is real!
Wow. It's like $50. Damn, thank you, bro. Thank you. Wow, appreciate that, man. That is yeah, like the stream, guys. Take it from Ismail. Like the stream if you haven't. We're at 70 likes right now. We got 145 viewers. So you got about half. I would say that's a solid ratio, but we can do better, guys. We can do better.
This man since
But yes, thank you so much, bro.
His YouTube journey, and he actually edited for me when he first got started. I'm forever grateful to him because quite frankly his editing is fire. I consider him a friend, someone I can always go to advice for on YouTube related topics, and someone who has a
look, you can roast me all day for pausing the video over and over. I just don't like talking over people. Let me just say, I noticed the music choice, Preach. What is that? Was that Driftvale City from Pokemon? That theme's a banger. That theme's a banger. Hold on. Drift. Welcome, X-Laser. Welcome to the crew, bro. Thank you so much for joining, bro. Alright.
a great mind when it comes to One Piece theories, and it's been amazing seeing his channel grow from less than 1,000 subscribers to where he's at now.
I like this
Represents
remix.
you, Dex Sake.
Hey!
That I'm going to talk about is why Pluton is a mole. If you haven't heard this before, then you're probably wondering how that can even be true when it was said to be a battleship capable of destroying an island in a
I gotta get the big brain hat. We're bringing back the big brain hat for this.
That can get you island to island. I mean, just ask San Juan Wolf, whose epithet is literally the colossal battleship. He is a giant who ate the huge fruit, which allows him to walk on the bottom of the ocean.
Can't even wear headphones
thus
with this
earning
thing
him
on,
that
but we'll
name.
make it
Plus,
work.
Sukiyaki said that Pluton was sleeping
I can still
under
hear.
Wano, which hints right away that Pluton should be a living thing. But why a mole? Well, one of, if not the best way to travel in One Piece is by digging underground. You get to avoid all the crazy weather as well as anyone sailing on the sea. We saw this during Gadatsu's cover story with a giant mole named the Boss of the Earth, whose name in and of itself could be a foreshadowing for the god of the underworld, Pluton. But Gidatsu was able to ride this mole from Ukari Island to Alabasta by digging underground.
Chad.
Horus even used the tunnels afterward because Ukari had hot springs there and people wanted to visit, and this eliminated the need to worry about traveling over the open seas. But what's interesting about this mole is that his helmet had
Yes,
Mount
sir.
Fuji on it in front of a traditional Japanese sun, the same one that you would see on the red rising sun flag. And the fact that Mount Fuji is there is really interesting because, like I mentioned earlier, Pluton is currently sitting under Wano, currently sitting under what's really called the Mole Port, or Mogura Port in Japanese. This is the port that was deep beneath Wano that helped ships avoid going up the waterfall. And if you think about it, this port must be the oldest one out of all of them because we know that Wano flooded over time, forcing them to build settlements up above that we saw throughout the arc.
I actually
So
love that
port is
addition.
down
Wait,
there.
I don't remember. Did you mention that in the original? Was that mentioned in the original video that Mogura Port must be the oldest one because it was built when the water level was lower? That that would have to have been. They would have had to have built it, right? Or was it after the walls were erected? I don't know. That's a really interesting point. That Mogura Port out of all of them would be the oldest one. That makes a lot of sense. It's just like it's a chicken or egg situation, right? Did the walls go up first or did they make the tunnel first? Or it was a port in the original and then when the walls came up, they tunneled through all right, maybe that's how it happened.
Below was
Excuse
probably
me.
needed first in order to take supplies, ships, people, etc. up to those new settlements to build the other ones in the first place. I wouldn't be shocked.
I did
if
watch
they just named
1070
the
Atlas.
port after the giant
Fire.
creature
I'm so
beneath
hyped
them,
for next
the
episode.
One who seemingly necessitated the
Oh, let me announce that now. I'm going to react to the Gear 5 episode on stream. So when the Gear 5 episode drops, I will be watching that. I will be reacting to it for the first time live. But obviously I won't be able to show it on the stream for copyright reasons. So watch the episode before you come to the stream and then my reaction.
walls being put up in the first place.
Obviously.
Now, do I think it's as simple as just some kind of mole? I mean, it could be, but I think at a minimum, it would be a modified mole. Either a ship with a mole devil fruit, or maybe a mole that was just modified like Laboon was. Both of these ideas kind of end up at the same point.
I like the
but it's
latter.
just two different ways of
I like
going
the
about
second
it.
one more.
Because for it
I think
to
that's
be
cool.
a ship, people would need to board it somehow so they can go island to island. But Gidatsu was able to do that by just jumping inside that mole's helmet. So it could be as simple as that too. I even think there's a good chance that Pluton dug tunnels throughout the world a long time ago, providing a network to travel through that's faster and safer than sailing on the seas. And
that's
maybe that even had a role in how the poneglyphs were spread throughout the world.
that's sick. That's sick. I love that. That's sick. I've been looking for how this would. Yes. So I've been trying to figure out how the poneglyphs got split up and spread out or whatever, like Emu was talking about with Lily. That's a cool idea. The underground tunnels that connect all the islands could have been used as a network. Okay.
If you want to hear more about these ideas, I do have a few videos on my channel, but the last thing I want to say is subscribe to Preach.
Shout out to Deck,
Yes.
man. I love the theory,
Please
and
do.
I can't wait to see if it comes true. Alright, so this next theory comes from a man who goes by Mr. Bushido. He was actually the first I remember on our channel, and I've even collabed with him a few times on theory videos. He has a bunch of interesting ideas, so shout out to him. He's been amazing, and I'll be presenting this one for him, as he doesn't have a YouTube channel. So this theory revolves around the idea that God Valley is One Piece's version of the Garden of Eden. We know from Kuma that the Bible exists in One Piece, and many religious references throughout the entire story. A valley is a natural garden which is not produced by man, and Eden is God's territory. Now if we take the rule of three, a literary device that groups three separate things together, in One Piece we already have the Adam tree and the Eve tree, two trees that are both tied to the Garden of Eden in the Bible, where the story of Adam and Eve takes place. This was the story where they were the first humans who ate the sinning fruit from a tree of knowledge, committing the first sin. So with an Adam and Eve tree, and assuming there could be one more tree with a religious connection in One Piece to fulfill the rule of three, what would the third tree be? Well, what about an Eden tree that was at God Valley? And tying it back to the fruit in the story, what if this Eden tree was the tree where devil fruits originate from? Or what if this is a tree that held many powerful and specific...
Or it could be a ganja tree. They got devil fruits. How about devil's lettuce? Am I right?
specifically godly fruits like mythical zones like Kaido's fruit, which we know that he ate at God Valley that day? Or what if Whitebeard acquired the godly power of the Gura no Mi and Marco's Phoenix fruit, which he gave to his first mate later on? Maybe even Luffy and Blackbeard's Nika and Yami no Mi were both on this Eden tree at that one point. It's interesting that Garland Figureland was also stated to be the king and judge of God Valley, and in the official viz it specifically states that Figureland was a dominating figure who distinguished himself at God Valley. Why Figureland is so important here is because when we break down his name, it means land of figs, Figureland, and this is another reference to Eden, since the land of figs is the Garden of Eden. We can
He's gonna mention this, I'm sure, but I'm pretty sure it's thought that the fruit that Adam and Eve ate in the story is supposed to be a fig. I'm pretty sure. I know it's commonly depicted as an apple, right? That's like the most popular depiction of the forbidden fruit, but the actual forbidden fruit was likely a fig. At least what they meant it to be when they wrote it, whether or not you believe in it or not. But it's more likely that the forbidden fruit was a fig. So I actually think that's a sick connection. I never caught the Figarland. Yeah, that's cool.
know this because fig leaves is a famous idiom that means covering up something.
What's up, Kev?
And this is once again
welcome, bro.
The story of Adam and Eve, because they use
Kev, I hope you've been playing Street Fighter, bro, in my stead. I haven't been playing at all. I haven't played at all since Rashid came out, but I hope you've been grinding, brother.
Fig leaves to cover up their private parts and nudity from embarrassment. And fig leaves are actually common and known throughout the world. It is used to hide shame. Mr. Bushido explains that he believes all devil fruits once existed.
We need to get Zoro fans some fig leaves. I'm sorry, my bad. I'm just kidding. I'm just joking. It's okay to be a fan of Zoro. I'm a fan of Zoro. It's okay.
We know Rocksteady Zebek had a goal of conquering the world and becoming king. And we know God Valley was an event that was this huge like heist operation. And so maybe these devil fruits are what the Rocks pirates were after. What if Rocksteady Zebek was one of the first people outside the world government to obtain a devil fruit? And after finding out about this Eden tree, he began to plan his attack directly against the world government. And this theory takes an even crazier turn with Mr. Bushido explaining the possible importance of slaves, which we know were at God Valley alongside celestial dragons.
Hold on.
The Rocks pirates were after. What if Rocksteady Zebek was one of the first people outside the world government to obtain a devil fruit? And after
I guess one of the first could make sense. I mean, Toki is from 800 years ago with a devil fruit, though. Right? But what's interesting is we don't see a devil fruit in the Nolan flashback, right? No one has a devil fruit power there. Does that make sense? I don't know if that makes sense. I don't know, guys. Help me with that.
Finding out about this Eden tree, he began to plan his attack directly against the world government. And this theory takes an even crazier turn with Mr. Bushido explaining the possible importance of slaves, which we know were at God Valley alongside celestial dragons. He explains how the celestial dragons may have used slaves to tend and grow these fruits. And if this theory is true, it would also explain why Garp was forced to defend celestial dragons and their slaves, fighting alongside Figureland, because if someone as powerful as the Rocks pirates got a hold of all these devil fruits, it would have been an absolute disaster. They would have way too much power and influence over the world. It would just be nuts if all the Rocks pirates except Big Mom and Rocks.
Oh, that's a good point, Ezthrax. Yeah, Brook is another one. Brook was before Rocks. Yeah, I don't think Rocks was one of the first people to eat a devil fruit. I definitely gotta push back on that, but that's okay. Ismail, thank you again, bro, for the 300. The 300, let me look up what this currency is right now. So I don't have to just say 300 somethings. Is it just an Egyptian pound? Oh, I didn't know that. Okay, it's a pound. Well, thank you for the 300 Egyptian pounds, bro. He said, John 16:16. We had this conversation 2 months ago. I remember that. Especially with the increasing importance of the number 16. Still waiting for your take on Bible references. Thank you. Let me write that down so I don't forget. That's another video I do want to make. At least the biblical connections. Let me write that down. Thank you, bro. I appreciate that. This is a good reminder, too, because this is a great video topic. I think now that we're pulling up to the final saga, we need to talk about all the connections to the Bible that are definitely going to play out in this Marie-Joie finale. I mean, look, I'm not trying to say that it's going to affect us. Like, I don't know if that implies how the story is going to go, but I think certainly there's connections being made to the Bible all over the place that we need to talk about, because it seems to be heavily connected to Imu, the Gorosei, the God's Knights, the Holy Land, and Kuma. I think that's all going to be coming together. So, and the Seraphim. We need to talk about all that.
Their fruits at God Valley. And I'm assuming Ross was sort of essentially the previous pirate king before Roger, and from what we saw in the anime, it seems his fleet was massive. It's also interesting if we consider Blackbeard as the modern day Zebek, like how Luffy will be the modern day Roger. And since we know Blackbeard is a devil fruit connoisseur going after specific devil fruits, it would be really interesting if Zebek also had the similar ambition and lust for powerful devil fruits as well. And I just want to add that this would be a really cool contrast if the Rocks pirates all had devil fruits, and then Roger, Rayleigh, Garland, Figureland, and Garp did not have devil fruits. Essentially, everyone who fought against him did not have fruits. Now, the one thing I disagree with here is that I don't believe the world government was hoarding every devil fruit here, because we know the world government had been trying to get their hands on the Nika fruit, which had always been avoiding them. And we also know that Big Mom already had her own devil fruit, and so I think with a small tweak that God Valley had many godly and powerful devil fruits being hidden, and so I think which had always been avoiding them. And we also know that Big Mom already had her own devil fruits being hidden here. It still fits with this theory and would be such a piratey story for Zebek and his crew. Overall, shout out to Mr. Bushido. I love this theory and many of these ideas. So the first person I actually asked for this video was of course the Wizard of Wars. You know, some people don't know this, but this channel is actually two people, Breach and Wizard of Wars. I seriously couldn't do this YouTube thing without him, and it allows us to hold each other accountable and continue the YouTube grind together. He's a great friend and also an amazing elite tier One Piece theorist, so I just can't wait to hear what he's cooked up for us. One of the
So I see some people talking about this. Let me just clarify. I don't mean that the entire finale of One Piece is going to be solely related to the Bible. All of One Piece has been referencing almost every single culture and major religion in some way, I feel like. Like, there's so many references to different cultures, different religions, different mythologies, which are religions that we, that are not really in practice today anymore. One Piece is pulled from so many sources, and I think it's important to talk about how the Bible has played into those influences, because Christianity, if I'm not mistaken, is the most popular religion on the planet. So even if it's not the most popular religion in Japan, where the story's being written, I would be absolutely shocked if Oda didn't have some heavy influence taken from the way that Christianity has played a role in our evolution culturally as humanity, as different societies over the last 1,000+ years, 2,000 years. So I think in some way Oda has touched on everything, and I think that he's been saving some of the deeper biblical themes for the end of the story, because obviously when we're talking about, because the Gorosei and the Celestial Dragons, they claim to have been the ones that created the world. They claim to have been, the stuff with the devil fruits, like the very nature of the main power, the power system in One Piece is centered around devil fruits. That is like a biblical reference. The main power of One Piece is a biblical reference. Just think about that. So if that doesn't play a major role in the finale of the story, answering all the questions about the mysteries, where do the devil fruits come from? What's the deal with Lunarians and Seraphim? What's the deal with the gods who created the world and all that stuff? Where do these gods and mythological beings even come from? There's a lot of stuff that's going to be answered by the end, and I think all of that's going to be important, and it's going to tie into characters that are just now making their move. Kuma, the guy who walked around, who was known for just walking around carrying a Bible, is now in the forefront of the story in direct connection to the Holy Land. So I think, obviously I could do a whole video about the Buddhist influences, which would be great. I think that'd be a good video. I could do a whole video about the Roman and Greek influences. That's another one that I plan to make. But I think that one that hasn't been talked about enough is the biblical stuff. I think that's super interesting, and people don't touch on it because it's a touchy subject, I guess. But it's definitely there.
The biggest debates upon the power scaling community of One Piece is whether Mihawk does or does not have Conqueror's Haki. Whichever the answer is, it will truly be
He does.
able to tell us if he's on the same level of Shanks or not. I personally believe that he does have it, and I know that that isn't too much of a complex theory or anything. However, the reasons why...
If you don't think Mihawk has conquerors, I'm sorry. Like to anyone out there that legitimately doesn't think Mihawk has conquerors haki, I need to ask you a question. What do you think the criteria for a conqueror's user is, if not Mihawk? If not the greatest swordsman on the planet, what do you think the criteria for having conqueror's haki could be? I know that the in-story explanation is it's 1 in a million, you're just born with it or whatever. There's a trend. There's a trend among characters. Between characters in the story, there's a trend of who gets conquerors most of the time. Majority of the time. Tends to be characters we can guess. Gaimon doesn't have conquerors, okay? We can kind of guess that. Mihawk?
I believe it may
Come on.
surprise you, since it seems Oda already told us the answer to this question back in the East Blue Saga. However, before I explain that, let me first tell you why people think he doesn't have it. So, one of the main reasons people think Mihawk doesn't have Conqueror's Haki is because he's a complete solo act. We know Mihawk for being the guy that doesn't have a single
That's the
crewmate.
most conqueror thing ever. That's the most conqueror shit. That's so Chad. What do you mean? I'm not roasting you, Marshall. I'm just saying, bro. Like, how could someone look at Mihawk rolling around solo and be like, that dude doesn't have conquerors? What? He travels the Grand Line by himself with no crew? He literally sits on a coffin in the middle of the most hazardous ocean in the world and just chills and takes naps? You're telling me this dude doesn't have conquerors? Are you nuts? Sorry.
Member, and if we take a
I'm
look
playing it up. Obviously, I'm sucking off Mihawk a little bit here, but like it's the truth though. This dude's so strong. There's no way. There's no way.
at Conqueror's Haki users,
He conquered every swordsman on the planet. To be the best swordsman, you have to conquer every other swordsman.
one of their main abilities is to be very likable and very good leaders. They tend to be the person who gathers people around and brings people together to be led by them. My argument for this with Mihawk is that
Gaimon has
people know
conquerors.
if people don't like him. Like, what if he doesn't have any crew members simply because he likes to roam freely by himself? Maybe he declines anyone that tries to join him because he simply likes it that way. Now, another reason people also say they think he isn't a conqueror is because they think he has no ambition or motivation since he joined the warlords to be left alone and to live freely. Yet again, I'd counter this argument with the fact that he actually does have ambitions, and actually arguably one of the greatest ambitions in the story, which is to not only become but also remain the strongest swordsman in the world. I feel like his dream has already been accomplished, which is to be the world's strongest swordsman, which is why he seems to come off as lazy or undriven. He currently doesn't really need to prove himself to anyone, so he doesn't. And so now that I explained why people believe this, now let me tell you how Oda already confirmed Mihawk is a conqueror back in Baratier. So in chapter 48, Gin from the Don Creek Pirate says that Mihawk has piercing hawk eyes that could kill with a glance. Now, isn't this pretty much exactly what Conqueror's Haki
That's a good
does?
point.
Don't Conqueror's Haki users have eyes that could kill with a glance when they use Conquerors? For example, when Shanks uses Conqueror's Haki on the Sea King of Fuchsia Village, he has eyes that could kill with a glance and scares off the Sea King with his glance alone. When Ray Lee uses Conqueror's Haki, we see Oda draw a panel of his eye that kills with a glance since he knocks out an entire area of fodder with his glare. Luffy does the same sort of thing in Fishman Island, and knowing this, we could only assume that Gin described Mihawk as this because he witnessed his intense glance or glare that seemed to kill the entire Don Creek fleet. Let me know what you guys think about this description of Mihawk in the comments. And now another reason I know he's a conqueror and on the level of guys like Shanks and Kaido is simply because he wields Yordu around. Just by its design, I know Yordu is probably the most powerful sword in the entire world. If it's not number 1,
1, then it has to at least be top 3, and with this, I assume that Mihawk has to have Conqueror's Haki just to be able to use it. The reason for this is because we see in the Wano arc that great blades can see into the swordsman and that the best blades only choose the best swordsman who best suits it. We see that Enma chose Zoro to test him, and knowing this, we could only assume that the same exact thing happened to Mihawk and Yoru. Knowing that Zoro needed a bare minimum of Conqueror's Haki to be able to wield Enma around to his own will, Mihawk had to have had a lot more than just that to be able to wield Yoru around. The reason I think this is because we saw what Enma was doing to Zoro during the King fight when it almost killed him, and remember, Enma is only a great grade blade. Imagine how much Haki a supreme grade blade, and specifically this supreme grade blade, drains from you, and imagine how much willpower and strength you need to be able to wield one effortlessly. With this, I'd say that when Yoru chose Mihawk, he was on the level of strength.
He's not even winded. He's swinging around a sword that weighs more than fucking Jinbei, and he's not even winded. The sword is massive, and he's not winded. He's just swinging it around. I'm sorry, the man has conquerors. Ismail, thank you for the 1,500 Egyptian pounds, bro. He said, I started reading One Piece 21 years ago. Mihawk has always been my favorite character since. The guy is just chilling and waiting for a decent challenge, takes down fleets. He's the best. You can't go wrong with a cool, edgy-looking, strong guy. I think when it comes to a shonen manga, especially one like One Piece, where up until that point, everyone you encounter is some sort of like funny, comedic kind of like almost disproportionate, like you have like, what is it? You have like Buggy the Clown. You meet like Gaimon right after that, I'm pretty sure, and then you have Captain Kuro, which is like, come on, bro. He's like he has to he pushes up his glasses like this because he has claws taped to his fingers. Like, dude, with the Nyaban brothers, come on. And then like after that, you get to Baratier and you're dealing with Don Krieg, who's like a loud, boisterous asshole, and it's like then Mihawk pulls up. Oda pulled a character like Mihawk out of the pocket and dropped him in the middle of like the playground, the kiddies sandbox, right? Because East Blue is like full of weak pirates. It's full of like joke villains and stuff like that. It's not the most serious. I mean, Arlong aside, it's not the most serious of compared to the rest of One Piece. You know, it's almost a joke. And then you just drop Mihawk, this certified badass who now we're finding out is basically one of the strongest characters in the entire story, and he's just dropped in there like in the middle of Disneyland. Like right at the beginning of the story. I love that god tier introduction.
Mihawk had to be a mastered Conqueror's Haki user in order to conquer such a blade.
Well, Horace, that's definitely going to piss off the Shanks fanboys. And by the way, make sure you subscribe to our...
It's okay. Guys, let me just say this message. I'm going to drop any character, any bias, okay? I'm not going to do the, oh, Mihawk fans are cringe, Zoro fans are cringe, Shanks fans... I'm not going to do that, okay? The reality is, anyone that takes it seriously enough to get angry over a character is cringe. But let me just say this to my actual boys out there, the people that are actual... you know, chill fans of Mihawk, Shanks, Zoro, all them. All the characters are dope. All the badass characters that Oda draws, he goes above and beyond, and he makes them cool every fucking time. Even the characters that have silly elements, like even King, when he was like stretching his head and all that, once the mask came off, everyone was talking different about him. Everyone started hyping him up even more. When Oda wants to make a cool character, he can make a cool character. Mihawk, Shanks, absurdly strong characters. There's no point in doing this war stuff where we say one character's weak, the other is whatever, fraud, whatever. I get it. I get the memes. I get the jokes. I'm just saying. Shanks is awesome. Probably top 2 in the story alive, currently alive right now. Top 2 or 3, I would say. And so is Mihawk. Mihawk's like top 5, if not top 3 as well. Like, they're both insanely powerful characters, insanely cool characters. It is not a wonder to me that they're fan favorites. Like, not at all. One of my friends, I tried to get into One Piece. He's not even that far in, but his favorite characters right now are Shanks and Mihawk. Because, like, why wouldn't they be, bro? Like, why wouldn't they be? They're so cool, right? Or Zoro. Like, they're such cool characters. The problem is that because the story is such a slow build-up and it's like it's a slow burn, Shanks and Mihawk don't get to do much. And unlike other shonen series where you have this like cool badass character, I really feel like Shanks and Mihawk are built up the same way that like Madara was in Naruto. Maybe it's not the best comparison because the payoffs are probably going to be different. But like when Madara came out, it was hype. I'm just saying. No one was hating on him. And I know it's fun to hate on the embarrassing like cringe stands or whatever, but that's a different story. I think these are all great characters though.
Channel because Wizard of Wars is doing his face reveal and live reactions to chapters at 50,000 subscribers. And if you enjoyed the video so far, make sure you hit the like button.
I love the
Up
editing.
Next, we have Hidden Island, someone who I really haven't got much of a chance to talk to yet, but he's someone who's really inspired me lately as someone who's giving back in the best way possible. Recently, he's had me on his channel where he did a great job setting up and hosting an amazing One Piece charity event, raising thousands of dollars towards fighting cancer. And he also likes making a One Piece theory video, so let's check out what he's cooked up for us today.
So I don't have... Yeah, all right. So we'll skip over this. But thank you for that shout out, Preach. That was really nice. I'm glad you were there for the stream, bro. Your presence was greatly appreciated. It was a lot of fun. And we'll be doing it again. You'll be back for another, I'm sure. I want to do more of those game show type streams in the future. Even if it's not for like a big event or like a big charity, just for fun, just like do them. I think that'd be great. But I'm gonna skip over this. Everyone's seen the Usopp video. I'm assuming anyone that's in the stream has watched it. It's been up for like 2 months. So there's nothing new I say here. But for if by chance you haven't seen it, the summary is Usopp is an inversion of Mont Blanc Noland, and at the end of the story, Usopp is going to have a storybook just like Noland, except it's going to be like Usopp the hero or something. He's going to be remembered as a brave warrior of the sea, when in actuality, like for most of his adventures, he was like, like a lying coward kind of, character. And then he becomes a brave warrior by the end, and he's remembered as a brave warrior, whereas Noland was a brave warrior for his whole life, and then at the end he was remembered as a liar. So it's like it's a very clever inversion. That's the theory. I think that's what Oda's gonna do. But yeah, that's the whole thing. Let's go to the next one. Sabo's checkered fate.
Is Usopp theory I've ever heard. Alright, so this next theory comes from Joe School's Theories on
Hey,
Twitter.
what's up, Joe?
I'll be presenting it for him, but make sure to go give him a follow over there for great One Piece theories. I'll leave the link in the description. Chapters 1085 and 1086 have recently made references back to the Obi.
Leo Dog said, I went rock climbing for the first time and was shaking scared from the height, but thought Luffy wouldn't give up, as corny as it is. Yo, man, that's fucking awesome. I wish I had the balls to go rock climbing. I'm not good with heights at all. I'm not good with heights, and I don't think I have the core strength to make it very far up any wall. But, yeah, rock climbing is awesome. And I know a bunch of people that do rock climbing, and they're incredibly fit. So keep doing it, bro. As long as you're being safe about it, it's okay to be scared at first, but Luffy wouldn't give up. That's true. And anyone that's working at their dreams, or working towards some goal, they're not going to let that get to them. So keep up the good work, bro. Keep it up. That's not corny at all. I mean, look, we can all be corny. I'm corny all the fucking time, but like the reality is you got to get shit done, you get it done. Regardless of if it hurts. The amount of times just today I was at the gym for like 4 hours and my arms are killing me by the end of it, and I still had to like push something out of myself, get myself to keep going, cuz you don't grow by doing routine. You don't grow by going up to the point where you give up, right? If you climbed the wall and then you got scared and you're like, "All right, time to get off." And that's where you ended it, you don't grow from that. What you grow from is once you get to the point where you're like, okay, now I'm afraid. I'm very high. It's hard to go any higher. It's hard to continue climbing. That's the moment when the growth happens. So once you hit that point, just like you did today, and you continued, when you hit that breaking point, what grows you is not stopping there, but actually pushing further until you really, truly can. And that's like that thing where like weightlifters talk about doing reps till failure. You do reps and you do reps. You can do like 7 every time in a set or whatever your number is. But like once you get to that number, your set shouldn't truly start. At least that's what Arnold Schwarzenegger used to say, is like your set doesn't start until you start to feel the pain. That's when you start counting. The moment you start to feel pain, that's when you count, because the number that you do beyond that is what's actually growing you and pushing you. So keep fucking doing that, bro. Like keep doing it, man. Don't give up on that. And something I gotta remind myself a lot when I'm I'm tired. My arms are like, I put my arms down. I'm getting lazy. I'm like, I can't keep doing this. This is too hard, tiring, whatever. When you feel that, just remember, that's when the growth happens. That's when you become a champion. It's in those moments. That's when the Olympiad is on.
Opinomi, the meaning of the initial D, and the subject of the checkered fate. Today we'll be focusing on the checkered fate, what it means, who it applies to, and what it will lead to. It would naturally seem like Law is the character who this applies to most, as it was introduced back in chapter 798 through a conversation between Sengoku and Law about Corazon. However, the recent dialogue in chapter 1086 tells us otherwise. It's actually Sabo who is at the center of this plot, so let's jump right into it. In chapter 1086, the Godose are speculating and theorizing on a checkered fate, as one of them says, yeah, another one. The D always follow a checkered fate. From this alone, we can begin to understand that the checkered fate connects directly to the meaning and purpose of the D clan. But does that mean that Sabo is really a D clan member? That answer lies in the wording. It said that Sabo has the checkered fate. Well, it said that the D clan follows the checkered fate. And this would mean that those who have the checkered fate are effectively individuals that those with the initial D seem to always end up following. I believe the significance of the Sa Debo flashback is not meant to be taken literally that Sabo is a member of the D clan, but to indicate that it was originally possible for the leaders of the D clan members to initiate new members. And it's implied that this is how Nefertari Lily also became a Will of D member, as a parallel to Sabo. And now if we look at Sabo and Lily, they both came from a very high nobility status.
Yes, I see some people saying that they pushed hard to the point of injury. It's not what I'm saying. I'm not saying to work until you hurt yourself, or like to ignore the signs that your body are giving you that you should give up. I'm just saying that a lot of people don't ever get to that point. A lot of people just get to the point where they start to feel tired, they start to feel winded, they start to feel scared or whatever the situation is. I'm just saying not to overwork yourself and hurt yourself, but just push that little bit extra, go that little bit extra beyond what you thought you could do or what you felt like you could do. That's where the growth happens. I'm not saying, though, to like ignore all signs that you're fucking your body up. Because if you overwork, that's also, your body's obviously telling you something. If you work too hard, you're going to hurt yourself. You're going to tear something. You're going to injure yourself. Always practice good form first and foremost before you do any exercise, so you don't injure yourself, which will prevent you from ever exercising again. But the point is just go that little extra, if you're doing a mile run, I'm not saying do 2 miles. I'm saying do 1.1 or 1.2 miles instead of that just 1 mile,
To join Joy Boy in the D clan. We know Sabo was friends with Luffy, and I'm assuming that Lily was also friends with Joy Boy. And Joe and I have discussed this idea. We both agree that this scene is basically foretelling and foreshadowing that Sabo will eventually join the D clan as well, similar to Lily. And through this, we'll also find out what that checkered fate is. Personally, I believe that Sabo is already a D member, but I really love Joe's idea that this was only foreshadowing to Sabo becoming a D member at the end.
Are spoilers out, Aramaki?
So Sabo has the checkered fate.
Is that why?
Like Law with the initial D always follow the checkered fate. What does that really mean? The best indication that we have comes from another piece of dialogue from chapter 1085.
I like that, Casey.
When Imu was answering Cobra's questions about the mystery of his ancestor Nefertari Lily. It was explained that the D is the moniker or the title of the ancient enemy of the celestial dragons. Many people will already have noticed that this is a callback to the scene from Lost flashback between him and Corazon, where Corazon explains that those with the D are God's natural enemy. Imu then goes on to explain that although
spoilers
the
are out,
D has begun to appear
I'll be after this stream. I'm gonna dodge social media.
More and often again, those who bear the initial D no longer understand the meaning of their own name. The word meaning comes up here both in Checkered Fate's concept and
thank
the
you for the heads up.
True history and the meaning of the initial D, and it's likely to be a hint that those two concepts are actually one and the same. The meaning of the Checkered Fate may also be those who bear will be responsible for guiding the D clan to learn the true history and rediscovering their name. And how could he accomplish this? Doesn't the One Piece have to be found before the truth can be learned? Not necessarily. In chapter 218, we flash back to Robin speaking with Cobra about the true history, and there was supposedly the real poneglyph that would reveal the truth. It was this that originally led Cobra to wanting to question the Godose about the poneglyphs. Much later during Whole Cake Island in chapter 846, we learned that there are 9 of these real poneglyphs, and together they combine to reveal the truth. And so far we have confirmation of at least 4 of these 9 real poneglyphs, but around half of them remain to be found, and that is likely to become Sabo's main quest. In pursuing this, he would naturally end up crossing paths also Robin and Law, who both already seek this truth for their own shared dream. So Sabo's main role going forward will be to likely become a guide for members of the D clan such as Luffy, Law, Vivi, and to discover the truth of their name. And with Cobra's final words bringing up Vivi and Luffy having the D, and telling Sabo to tell them the truth about their connection, it seems like Sabo could be the one to bring Luffy and Vivi together. If the checkered fate is defined by those who are always surrounded by those who bear the initial D, then Robin surely can share this fate as well. Because
Dude, the reunion between Sabo and Luffy, if that happens and he gets to even tell him about half of this shit, is gonna be insane. When Luffy gets wind of like what happened to Cobra, oh my god, I am so ready. That's gonna be the most serious I think we've seen Luffy in ages. Like, if you thought that, like, at the end of Wano... I mean, Luffy wasn't really that serious at the end. He was serious, but, like, he's Joy Boy, like, laughing while he's doing his attacks. But if you missed dramatic, serious Luffy, like Luffy post-Marineford with the shadow over the face and the one eye, like, looking at you like that out of the shadows or whatever on the fucking... What was it, on the submarine? Or was it on... was it in Amazon Lily? I don't remember. But, yeah, that scene with Luffy being... uber serious and dark. If you missed that, that's gonna come back the moment we find out about Cobra. It's gonna come back. Luffy is gonna be pissed off. So just get ready for that, because that's gonna be an insane reveal. How recent is too recent to consider it a spoiler? Just this week's chapter. The spoilers are apparently out for 1089. I have not, obviously, I don't read spoilers, so I haven't heard anything about 1089. So that's just, you can talk about anything up to the last chapter, though. That's fine.
Throughout her life, Robin has been affected by Jaguar D. Sao, Monkey D. Luffy, Nefertari D. Cobra, Monkey D. Dragon, Trafalgar D. Water Law, and then also a friend of Sabo. It is no coincidence that Robin is known by the Revolutionary Army as the Flame of the Revolution, the one who's inspired the events that will eventually lead
Always
to the
warm up.
downfall of the world government. And this will mean that it's also not a coincidence that Sabo recently used this same phrase, the Flames of Revolution, in chapter 1083. The fact that Robin and Sabo share the association with a checkered fate and the Flames of Revolution most likely means that their main role could be what leads to an alliance among the remnants of the D clan to fulfill and rediscover their shared objective. This will essentially be the final stage of revolution, the foretold storm, as Law tells us again in chapter 729 that the D will always bring a storm. You see, when I talked to Joe and discussed this earlier, we agreed that it seems that Sabo essentially is destined to follow the example set by Lily and to enable the D clan to fulfill the task that's left in the letter. Overall, it seems like Sabo's checkered fate means that he's destined to lead the D clan towards the true history and rediscovering the meaning of the initial D, because Sabo shares this fate with characters like Robin, and together they both represent the flames of the revolution. Nico Robin, we know why she's the flame as the burning of O'Hara, but also Sabo being a more symbolic and literal sense of the flame with his flame fruits. Guys, make sure that you go and check out Joe on Twitter.
Yeah, Joe's cool.
He's supported me and my channel since very early on, and he's my personal favorite Twitter theorist.
He's hyped up some of my theories in the past. He's a nice guy.
Always coming up with evidence to back up his takes and theories. Next up, we have someone who I've spoken to many times, and you know what I love about this person is that we could debate a theory or idea or any One Piece topic, and he doesn't take it.
Yo, Yokai, that's a cool point. Keep in mind, Lodestar has a poneglyph that told Roger that there is a true final island existed. That's an interesting point, honestly. I really wonder what exactly it says, and it makes me wonder because Roger needed to get to Lodestar to find out about Laugh-Tale, but now we know about Laugh-Tale, so we don't need to even go to Lodestar to find out that information. And if that's all that's there, yeah, are we gonna go to Lodestar Island? I don't know, man. I would love to see that poneglyph, or at least whatever informed Roger about Laugh-Tale, because that's a really significant one. If you think about it, that's a crazy important location in the One Piece world, because if not for Lodestar Island, then no one would even know where the One Piece is, or know about the One Piece technically, because most people would get to Lodestar and then be like, okay, we're done. Adventure over. We're at the end. I like that. No, I like that idea. And yeah, Joe is a good theorist. He is really good at coming up with theories of, like, he's another one like Parvision's similar in this way. They're able to get like details that I have never seen before, but they're in the story and they can make theories work just on those details. And I think that's really entertaining because as someone who is as big of a fan of One Piece as I am, it's cool to like still be learning new things and like getting new pieces of information that I would have never even factored into a theory. I wouldn't have even known, let alone made a theory off of. So I think it's really cool. And Joe's good at doing that. I will say there's some theories I've disagreed with, but that's considering he makes like a theory like once a day at least or something like that. He makes a lot of theories. That's totally fine. You're not gonna have a perfect hit ratio, but yeah, Joe's got good ideas. Joe has got good ideas for sure.
Personal, we keep it civil, we always keep it moving, we always have a great conversation. Someone who appreciates an in-depth discussion where we can both poke holes at each other's ideas and usually ends up making the theory better because we both find counter arguments or ways around the point we both bring up. It's always intellectually stimulating and just so fun.
You can repeat it, Vargon, I don't mind.
And so I'm excited to present to you Par Vision.
This secret One Piece power might have been hidden.
So I'm only doing hold on, I actually do not want to interrupt this at all. Vargon, yeah, so we're just doing this video for today. We're reviewing the theories in this video. But if you have a theory you'd like me to see, feel free to drop. If it's a video, drop it in Promote Yourself in my Discord, the channel called Promote Yourself. Drop it there. If it's not a video, there's a theories channel. You can drop the text theory in there, and then I'll give it a look sometime. And then, you know, I'd be happy to check it out.
Around the point we both bring up. It's always intellectually stimulating and just so fun talking to this person about One Piece. And so I'm excited to present to you Par Vision.
This secret One Piece power might have been hidden within a Devil Fruit awakening. So the Opi Opi no Mi that Law has is one of the most versatile fruits in the sense that it just feels like you can do anything with it.
I feel like I haven't heard this.
Actually been shown, especially now that Law has demonstrated the awakening for his fruit where he's able to use Kroom, which so far involves him creating a room bubble, but applying it to his sword, and thereafter the sword can extend and phase through objects. Then if he uses Shock V-Ray, he shoots an electric surge through the blade affecting anything he pierced. I think rather than all of these things being all a part of his Devil Fruit ability, there's actually 3 separate things going on. I'm not going to touch on the Gamma Knife Shock V-Ray side of things, but if you're familiar with my channel and my hockey theories, it's self-explanatory. The 2 things I want to separate out was the phasing and sword extension. See, what I think makes the most sense is Law's Kroom is creating a room where anything inside the bubble can phase through objects outside of the bubble. That would be a very understandable extension of Law's normal paramecia abilities. Being able to extend his sword through the same ability sounds weird, especially because most of Law's Opi Opi abilities relate to medical procedures, and sword enlargement isn't exactly something that exists. You could explain the sword extension through another power being highlighted right now: Cursed Swords. Law has the Kikoku, an unknown grade blade that was confirmed to be cursed in the SBS. And if you've seen my previous videos, then you know what I'm getting at here.
Wait, are you saying
blades are blades with special properties, like how the Enma can forcefully exude its user's haki, but also the Sandai Katetsu was set to cut more than it was intended. The Shusui had a similar thing that was subtly mentioned in that it felt heavy to Zoro and said that in order to properly wield it...
You're saying Law's cursed swords? Law's sword being cursed is interesting. This is a cool idea. I've never heard that before.
Needed to master.
We got to talk more about cursed swords in One Piece. That's got to be like a bigger topic, I feel like. I totally welcome Par bringing the topic of cursed swords up more, because I think we do need to talk about that. There's something interesting about that and the whole idea, because like with Zoro and was it Kozaburo? Who was the one that made all the swords? But yeah, that flashback in Wano was Zoro as a kid. He was talking to Queena's grandfather. There's no such thing as a cursed sword or whatever. I thought that was an interesting thing, because I've always got the impression that there is a will hidden inside swords. There's like a soul or something in there. So I do like this topic a lot. I would love to know where this goes.
And then we get to Zombie Ryuma talking about how the Shusui would be satisfied with Zoro as its master, which in the context of what Kozaburo said would mean...
I'm sorry, I missed a super chat. I'm so sorry to pause again. Ismail, thank you for the 60 Egyptian pounds, brother. He said, would it be possible to give me a constructive take? You know what? You've been very generous today. After we're done with this video, if you have a theory you'd like me to check out, I'd be happy to do so. So, yeah. Send that. If you want to just post that in the, if you have access to the Discord, or I mean, I guess you could post a link in here later, but it's going to get lost if you post it now in the chat. So if you want to just post that in the Discord promotion channel and just tag me and say, hey, it's Ismail and this is my video, or whatever, then we'll, after we're done with this, I'll pull that up.
The Shusui probably accepts Zoro. Thereafter, he just had to bend it to his will. So the heaviness that Ryuma accessed is something that Zoro was also able to access. And I know that the Shusui is not considered a cursed blade, but technically neither is the Enma. And it might be due to the fact that its wielders didn't die because of the blade itself. And so now going back to Law's Kikoku, I think through some means it's able to extend based off of Law's will because he had mastered the Kikoku. Which you're probably wondering, wait, if that was the case, why hasn't he done this before? Well, it wouldn't really benefit Law to be swinging around a massive sword. As far as cursed blades go, imagine if the blade just randomly extended during a battle. That would definitely be a way to get the user killed. So the reason why Law is finally using it is because it's in tandem with his awakening, which is perfect for his ability because his ability makes it so that the sword is rendered essentially weightless regardless of its size, because it's now in a state that allows it to phase through all physical matter. But at the same time, because of Law's combination of abilities here, he is able to use the sword and his awakening to the maximum potential. And all of this makes perfect sense to be something Oda continues to expand on as he has been doing with swords in the background, where it will most likely come together in the last saga when we reach supreme grade cursed blades like the Shodai Katetsu and other sword users like Mihawk and the Holy Knights like Garland Garling, further increasing the difficulty and complexity of Zoro's path towards the world's strongest swordsman, something I've discussed in my Zoro, Mihawk, and Holy Knight theories.
I really like the idea that maybe the sword could sense that Law had the potential to master his Devil Fruit awakening and therefore master the blade itself and utilize it to its full potential.
Yeah, that's also, that animation for the Kroom is insane. Wow. Par said he's been awake for 36 hours. Jeez, bro. Are you okay? Get some rest, brother. You don't need to. The VOD will be up. Oh my goodness, 36 hours. Jesus, bro. Well, I hope you're hanging in there, brother. That sounds insane. I mean, I used to have bouts of insomnia that would keep me awake for around the same time, 36, 48 hours, something like that. Felt like shit. But yeah, feel better, bro. I hope you get some sleep soon. Get some well-needed, well-deserved rest. Let me talk about this curse theory idea. I still feel like Kroom, I mean, I understand the logic. To me, I always felt like anything inside of Law's room could be manipulated however he wanted it. Does that mean growing and shrinking stuff? No, I don't think we haven't seen that either. But it would be tough. I mean, like, I'll give it to you that we haven't seen him shrink or grow things. I'm pretty sure we haven't. We haven't seen him shrink or grow anything inside his rooms before. So it would make sense if that was a separate tacked on ability that didn't have to do with the awakening. But the way I also see it is if awakenings allow you to apply the properties of your devil fruit to other things instead of just using it, that would mean that he'd be able to apply the properties of the rooms themselves to his sword, which would mean he could expand his sword just like he's expanding the room, right? Because it's the awakening. So he's putting the power of the rooms themselves into the blade, which allows him to expand the blade at will. That's kind of like the way I see it. But that being said, I could see it also being the other way, like you're saying. That's a separate part of the sword, and the actual ability is just coating it in a room that lets him, but I just feel like if it weren't for coating it with the room, then what else can you do with a sword coated in room, right? Besides grow and shrink it and phase it through stuff. Like, I think there's got to be more to it. I don't know if it's a curse, like if cursed blade is the solution to that. But that being said, like I said before, I am open to it being another property, and I think that cursed blades need to come up more in One Piece. I think they haven't come up enough. It's been like exclusively a Zoro thing, and I would love to see that. Especially Law's katana is one of the coolest ones in the story, in my opinion, with that fur, like that fur hilt or whatever. I always thought that was badass. I would love if that was a cursed blade. Here's my prediction in terms of cursed swords. Okay, I do think out of all the swords in the story that do not belong to Zoro, the one that is without a doubt cursed to me is Shiryu's sword. That scene in Impel Down where Shiryu goes, my katana, and he opens up the blade and it shines red, and then he fucking just immediately like slaughters all the Impel Down guards. That to me screamed curse sword. That screamed curse sword to me. Like the man's probably being controlled. I wouldn't be surprised if Shiryu is controlled more by his sword than he's able to control the sword itself. And Shiryu's bloodlust comes from the sword. So that's a cursed sword. I think is definitely going to get revealed. Law's is interesting because I always forget honestly that Law is like a swordsman sometimes because of how much of his like the best of his abilities don't come from his swordsmanship. It comes from his devil fruit. So yeah, I mean it's a very interesting idea. I like this. I do like this idea. I want it to be real. I want there to be more cursed swords in One Piece. I just don't know if the Kroom is the only explanation. I think Par, you mentioned earlier there were some shorts that also talk about this, so I'll have to check those out at some point and look at this more because this is an interesting idea to me.
Fire theory, and I never even knew that Law's sword was a cursed blade until now. Big shout out to Parvision, go check him out. Rock's review, I'm a huge fan of his shorts on YouTube, and his energy in his videos is always on point. Another person who's always shown love to us, always been very welcoming and open to collabs, so let's check out what he's cooked up for us.
And before we check that out, Mr. Rubix, I'm sorry I missed your membership message, brother. He said, hot take. There will be no frauds in One Piece. There will be no frauds in One Piece. Recent chapters have shown us that Oda will wait for 90% of the story before showing what a character can really do. I agree. I personally think any characters we got left to have a showing in the story are going to be busted. Like, right? Right? Like why would Oda hold off on showing so many characters that we've been hyping up and then disappoint us with them being like weak, like nobody characters? Akainu, Shanks, Mihawk, Garp is one that we can tack onto the list. Like we've been seeing those results. Dragon, Kobe, like all these characters that have been sitting around in the background now are coming into the limelight. Now they're doing stuff. I fully expect all of them to be like insane. I want amazing showings from everyone. Thank you for the 60 Egyptian pounds again, Ismail. He said, like the stream. Appreciate that, bro. Mr. Future Singer said, Hidden, can you explain the cursed Kabuto Soge King uses? Yeah. So ever since the time skip, I don't even know what the fuck I have to wing it with this one. Yeah, during the time skip, Usopp was doing some very intense training with Heracles, and he found out that the only way to get off the island and to reveal his true power to the rest of the world would be to curse his Kabuto. Anyway, back to the video.
Hello, Preach, and other
Hello,
YouTubers
Rock's
who
Review.
are probably doing a way better job than me. Sorry, but I'm gonna talk about two theories. One
Okay.
of them, I came up with it as soon as I could have came up with it, and the other one, I did not came up with it. I'm gonna start from number two. This theory is clearly not mine because this is actually very smart. It's about the One Piece itself, and probably most of you already heard about it. You see, there is a famous prophecy that one day Luffy will
Give me a little time to figure it out, and I'll give you a cursed Kabuto theory, okay? Ismail, thank you for the 150 again, bro. He said, "Call D Hawk for the next live, please. Your feedback means the world." Call D Hawk. Is that what you want me to review?
destroy Fishman Island, and I believe that's
Call
true.
D-Hawk.
This theory goes on to say that one day, after Luffy destroyed Im-sama and the world government, he shall destroy the Red Line itself. Before doing this, he's gonna allow everybody from the Fishman Island go inside of the giant ship Noah and save all of them from the ultimate destruction. And after that, he's gonna destroy the Red Line, and since Fishman Island is under the Red Line, the prophecy will come true, and Fishman Island will be destroyed by the hand of Luffy. But after the Red Line is destroyed, all the 4 oceans of One Piece world, north, south, west, and east, will come together. This will create an ocean that every type of fish in the world exists. This
all blue.
is gonna be all blue and One Piece itself. The moral of One Piece's story is a struggle between freedom
This is
and
a very
courage.
popular theory.
Destruction of the Red Line and 4 seas coming together is the perfect symbolism for the final act of One Piece's story. And now let's talk about my own theory.
All right.
If you know me and my channel, you know that I am a firm believer in Conqueror's Hockey ultimate supremacy. And I definitely believe that Oda is
love
not
that.
done giving us the hype of this power. And to prove this, let's go back to chapter 10:10. After years of waiting, Zoro finally used Asura and gave the ultimate scar to Kaido. Have you ever wondered what the hell is Asura? I mean, it's not really fair to assume this is a type of power that only and only Zoro can use it, as if Oda created this power only for the sake of Zoro. No, this should be part of the bigger magic system. What if the final form of Conqueror's Hockey is awakening a demon or a god inside you? And if this be true, we can have a lot of badass final attack and mythology from all around the world in One Piece. Maybe all the top gods of One Piece have one hidden god in them. Asura is a glimpse of the final form of power in One Piece world, and I believe going by...
I do love the idea that, like, Ashura, like, the possibility that, like, if Zoro got turned into a devil fruit a la Nika, right? Would his devil fruit be the human fruit mythical model Ashura? Would that be Zoro's human fruit? Just like Joy Boy, if Joy Boy's devil fruit became it was the mythical human fruit model Nika. Could that be like, maybe that's what that is? That's an interesting idea. Now I will say, I don't think that it's the final form of Conqueror's Hockey, because that would mean that Zoro tapped into the final form. Like, we're not just talking about Conquerors. We're not just talking about advanced Conquerors, right? Because we have Conqueror's Hockey, which already took a long time for anyone in the story to learn. Zoro especially just learned it recently. Then we have Advanced Conquerors, which also took Luffy the entire post-time skip to learn. And now we have super advanced supreme god level conquerors. And you're telling me that Zoro tapped into this in Enies Lobby? Look, I don't know about that. I have to put a stop to this train of logic. Halt! That doesn't fly. But I will say, the idea of the Ashura being some like god, hockey-based mythical being trapped within people, and that like some people have access to it, and that might be the source of their conquerors. Like maybe, and this is a way to think of it, maybe that the people that have conquerors hockey because there's something like Ashura inside of everyone. Yeah, it's a really cool idea. I like that. I like this train of thought. The only thing I don't agree with is it being like the ultimate form of hockey, because then that would be like, you know, like, wow, Zoro tapped into the best hockey ever that no one else has ever demonstrated in the story. He tapped into it by himself in Enies Lobby with like no outside training or influence. He might as well have taken on Mihawk right there in that case, you know?
Evidence, this can actually make perfect sense, because after all, only
Sorry,
a
Chance.
hockey-based
It's not Zoro hate, it's
can give the
it's
ultimate
logic.
scar to Kaido. So am I really delusional? Probably yes.
Listen, Rocks, that second theory was legit, man. Pretty dang good, because, you know, I'm a Zoro standboy, so I gotta say, you've got me insanely hyped for this Demon Ashura hockey form to come true. And to all my Sanji fans, yeah, Sanji's not beating that form. This next creator has the most recognizable and distinct voice in all of YouTube history. Sometimes I just throw him on and listen to his videos like it's a podcast. We haven't...
Yeah, so Zach White says Zoro has always been ahead of his time. Look at the Mr. One fight. I agree with that, actually. I think Zoro, in terms of like combat, obviously Zoro is like the most combat focused out of all the Straw Hats. Even more than, look, Luffy's he's a better fighter than Zoro, but Zoro is the most combat focused Straw Hat. His entire character is based around his ability as a fighter. Luffy is a fighter, and he's the best fighter on the crew, but he's also like a captain, a leader, an adventurer. He has no problem goofing off, going on adventures. Whenever Luffy is goofing off, Zoro's fucking benching weights, okay? So the man is all about strength and being as strong as possible. Wouldn't surprise me if Zoro's hockey abilities or combat abilities were more advanced or ahead of his time. That I don't disagree with. The problem I have is that just the way that things are ordered, because you can't tell me that Zoro is so ahead of his time that he tapped into the most advanced form of haki in the entire story, that even before Luffy got Conquerors, like Luffy didn't even tap into Conquerors haki until after Enies Lobby, after Thriller Bark. So it wasn't even until after Thriller Bark. So yeah, for me it's like, for Zoro to just skip 10 levels, 10 or 11 arcs in advance of actually getting Conquerors. Like, think about it this way. Zoro used Ashura in Wano before he unlocked Conquerors. Like, before he started using Conquerors, he was already using Ashura, I'm pretty sure. Right? Didn't he, like, he didn't even know what Conquerors was when after he used Ashura on Kaido, and then Kaido was like, oh, you have Conquerors. Zoro didn't even know what it was. So it would be weird for me to, like, to have him just master something that's so ahead of everything else. You would think Kaido would comment on that, right? Right? Like, you would think if Kaido saw Zoro, like, create a fucking demon Susanoo, like, attached to his body as a result of his haki, like, you would think Kaido would say something besides, that's gonna smart. Oh, that's gonna leave a mark later. Ouchies! That's all that Kaido said. You would think he would say more, you know? You'd think he would be like, whoa, this pirate can tap into the ultimate haki that even I can't do. Like, I don't know. I don't know how Kaido would fucking say it. Point is, I don't know. There's a different order to things, you know? I don't think it's a Conquerors thing is what I'm trying to say. If it is a haki related thing, I think it's a haki thing that has nothing to do with Conquerors haki. Or if it does, it's not the most advanced form of it. I don't think so.
Haven't spoken much privately, but he's someone who I looked up to as I was coming up in the YouTube scene, as I watched him grow at a rapid rate, and that is Vinland D.
Dragons fight for freedom, revolution. I can't wait to see the things he has done and potentially get an explanation as to why he abandoned his son as a child. Assumed since Luffy doesn't seem to recognize his own father's face. Dragon appears to have not been around for the vast majority of Luffy's life. Very similar then to Ace's relationship with his own father, Roger. Even more curious given Dragon was also at Roger's execution. But for those that like to claim Dragon is a bad father, I'd like to go over a shocking idea I introduced in the past in a video that may or may not be on the channel any longer. That Monkey D. Dragon, for all his faults as a man or a father, has actually been watching over his son Luffy all this time. I can sum it up by saying this. Just as Luffy is the sun, shining down and spreading light wherever he goes, the bringer of dawn, just as Imu might be Mother Nature and the very sea itself, the very world, the earth. Dragon is the wind. He is everywhere all at once. During Pull Down, chapter 539, around the onset of the Marineford War, Ivankov tells us that Dragon is pulling the strings behind all the revolutionaries and likely revolution.
Wait a second. I really like where this is going. Are you telling me that Dragon's been following Luffy the entire story because he's the Wind Logia, and that means that anything Luffy has been doing has been Dragon's been seeing it through the wind? Like, he's able to watch Luffy's adventures through the fucking winds on the ocean? Is that what this is saying? Because that's awesome. I love that idea. Oh, man, if that's true, he's going to go from, like, worst father to best father so fast.
Around the world.
That would explain his arrival at Logtown, like how he's been able to... Oh my god! Wait! Wait a second! Cyber Sparrow with the heat. Wait, you're telling me that Dragon might have been the very wind pushing Luffy's sails? Like the Thousand Sunny and the Going Merry? The wind pushing the sails may have been Dragon himself using the... like... Bro, that would be crazy!
As the wind is everywhere. Aside from marveling at Luffy's similar willpower to his father.
Wait, I would love that! Oh, wait, hold a second. That would... Okay, wait.
Born in East...
Wait, actually go on.
Blue. This takes us to a flashback
Let him cook.
Of
Let him
Ivankov
cook.
And Dragon. We see Ivankov say to Dragon, whenever the wind blows, wherever you are, you're always facing the same way. And Dragon responds by saying in a dismissive fashion, whether hiding something or not, that he's never noticed that himself.
I am serious,
Uncle
Duarte.
suggests
I'm
it
not
could
fucking around. I know that I put on I joke a lot, so it's hard to tell when I'm being sarcastic or not. I'll put the warning here. Here's my disclaimer, okay? I'm 100% serious. This idea is sick. You're telling me that Dragon's been a part of Luffy's adventure this whole time through the power of his devil fruit, and that the wind power has allowed Dragon to basically watch his own son's adventure and assist him, literally be the wind in his sails. That is so good. And oh man. There's okay, so anyone that has a PlayStation, because this game is only on fucking PlayStation, unfortunately, PS5 and PS4. There's a game, Ghost of Tsushima. Okay, it's called Ghost of Tsushima. Phenomenal video game, amazing video game. Okay, minor story spoilers. If you're really worried about spoilers for this game, I would just mute the stream for the next minute. Okay. In that game, the main character's father, okay, we're starting now. In that game, the main character's father dies. And I don't remember, it's been a while since I played the game. But in that game, the main character's father dies, and there's some implication that, like, your father became the wind or something, like his spirit's like in the wind and the winds are guiding you. And in Ghost of Tsushima, you know how like most open world games have like an arrow on the top of the screen that guides you to your next objective, or a compass, or some like objective marker that's like, hey, go here in 500 meters, whatever bullshit. Ghost of Tsushima has a really unique mechanic to do this. Instead of having an arrow that tells you where to go, you swipe up on the fucking trackpad on your controller, and then a wind will blow, pointing you to your direction, like to where you have to go. So if your quest is in the northeast and you check for the direction, you'll see a gust of wind carrying sakura petals or whatever, and you'll see the wind blowing in a certain direction, and you follow the way that the wind is pointing you. And it's your father guiding you. Your father, through the wind, guides you to your objectives in the game, and it's the wind guiding you everywhere, and it's like your father's spirit, the wind blowing you in the directions that you need to go for your adventure. That idea was always like one of the most heavy-hitting things to me in that game, and I thought it was so genius to have an RPG or like a action RPG. The way that you find your way around the world is wherever the wind blows, and the wind is literally guiding your adventure, and it's your father doing it through the wind. So the idea of that being in One Piece to me is so awesome, because it's like Dragon might literally be the wind Logia user. Like he might just be wind. Like he's just made of wind. And it's like, even in this scene, it's like the wind's blowing, Dragon's facing the same direction. Is that direction Luffy? Is the wind always blowing behind Luffy's back? Like, that's something I wonder if Dragon's manipulating that. I think that's awesome. That's such a cool idea. Ghost of Tsushima is a fucking amazing game. That's like a 9 out of 10 in my book. Almost a 10 out of 10. Honestly, it might even be a 10 out of 10. That's a phenomenal video game. And it just, when I put this together, hearing this theory, that's the first thing that came to my mind, was like Ghost of Tsushima Kino. Like fucking wind blowing. Like, I love that.
And I'd say it's Dragon's fatherly instinct, as Ivankov asks Dragon if his home is in that direction. The direction Dragon is always facing when the wind blows. That perhaps he has a family in the eastern seas. East Blue. But the conversation ends as Dragon seems awfully protective of his past and doesn't want to comment further. This takes us to a connection I made for Chapter 1. That we were in fact introduced to Monkey D. Dragon for the very first time in Chapter 1. Not in Chapter 100 as some might believe. After Roger's execution, we go to another page, a small seaport, where we see Shanks' pirate ship.
The wind blows from the east! The wind blows from the east. I've always wondered about that line. Like, what was the point of that? Is that just for like a setting thing? The wind blows from the east? Oh, that's crazy.
To a small, peaceful village by the wind. the east wind that is blowing. Could it be that Dragon has always been watching over his son? The east wind we see during chapter 1 is the same east wind that Ivankov said Dragon is always facing. If
Thank you for
Dragon
the
is
60
wind,
pounds,
could
Ismail.
he
The
not
will
be
of D.
anywhere he wants to be?
The will of D is the X done with Vivi. Oh, like everyone with the will of D is like the original version of everyone holding up their arm with the X to show that we're all friends. And the way that their friendship would maintain over the centuries. I could see that. The will of D being a final hurrah from the original D clan, and they were a group of friends or whatever, and at the end of the Void Century, when they knew they were going to die or fail or whatever, they knew, they were like, no matter how much time passes, 800 years may go by, the D will bring us together. The D is our mark of friendship. That's the mark that we fought together. I do like that idea. That's crossed my mind in the past, and I like that a lot. I would really hope, it's not just a hereditary royal family type of thing. If it's like, no, the people with the D initial originally were like the original crew of Joy Boy. They were a collection of ideas, and it was a collection of values that made that crew, and that they're not exactly related, but all the members of the D clan now trace back to those original people. And now they're working together to bring things full circle. I like that idea.
Or if you can combine observation hotkey with your devil fruit as Enel did with his lightning logia to observe an entire island during Skypiea, could Monkey D. Dragon combine his observation hotkey with the wind to see events across the world? Wherever the wind blows, Dragon is there. And so Dragon has always been by Luffy's side. He's always watched over his son. And the fact that Oda placed the east wind by Shanks Jolly Roger in this panel here, the fact that Shanks and Roger are
I'll get to
shown
that
side by
part,
side
Vision.
in this other panel here on the screen during Roger's execution, I wonder what sort of relationship these two men have. Shanks and Dragon. One a father figure, the other Luffy's biological father. Luffy is very similar to both of these men. And so Dragon is the wind. He has always been watching over his son. We see this in chapter 99, where it seems like a bolt of lightning from a sudden change in weather saves Luffy. Perhaps Dragon brought a storm, or it really was just a lucky storm. But Dragon does save Luffy from Smoker, and it can't be a coincidence he just so happened to be at Logtown, can it? The same day as Luffy. That Dragon just so happened to run into Luffy and Smoker. And thereafter a gust of wind
D is for
blows and a
deadbeat
storm
dad.
carries Luffy
Damn.
and the Straps on their way.
Damn.
A journey that Dragon seems to approve of, since he questions what right anyone has to stop another from setting sail, from being free. Since Dragon says the day will eventually come when he and his son Luffy meet again, and given Dragon's current importance and reintroduction to the storyline via the destruction of Lucia Kingdom and Vegapunk's flashback with him and O'Hara, I think that day is finally here, as we see from chapter 1078 that another war is about to start. The force heading to Egghead Island now is said to be on the same scale as a war. The way this scene is depicted is strikingly similar to Marineford, the narrator's proclamation that the conclusion of the Egghead incident will shock the world in a way no one has imagined.
Egghead's not going to
That
be
the Egghead
Marineford
incident
too.
will change
There's
the
no
world,
way.
just as Dragon said he would one day do. Dragon's growing relevance and parallels to Marineford that are reinforced by Chapter 1080 and Garp's entrance to Beehive Island being similar to how Luffy fell from that ship in the sky during Marineford when going to rescue Ace, as we see Garp descend or jump from the ship that is flying in the air somehow, down upon Beehive Island with his galactic punch. In Chapter 539, Ivankov even hinted at the destruction Dragon would bring.
Yo, shout out to Ragnar for using the best name of that island, Beehive Island. I was going on a rant about this during the last chapter reaction, but between Full-Lead and Hachinosu and Beehive, Beehive is my favorite of the three names to call that. So yeah, shout outs.
Forward, if his son was ever in danger, the combined wrath of Whitebeard and Dragon, though Dragon never showed. Now with Luffy in danger once again on Egghead Island, Oda's doing this for a reason, I believe, and I think that reason is a legendary introduction of Dragon as he finally makes his move. The legend begins as chapter 100. When will the legend arrive? Dragon either arriving.
Thank you for the donation, Ismail.
Out of nowhere,
appreciate it. Like these stream,
or
guys.
being saved again by a bolt of
Let me give that a
lightning.
heart
Or
react.
like Dragon once did to save Luffy from Smoker.
Thank you, bro.
Or maybe Dragon arriving like Whitebeard, Imagine if Dragon's ship can also fly, completing the trifecta of 3 monkey Ds falling from the sky, if Dragon really can control the wind. Or imagine a massive storm approaching Egghead Island, since the D will always bring another storm. Imagine if the Pirate King Goldie Roger really was saved from the Golden Lion Shiki's fleet by a storm created out of nowhere by Dragon. Even if it wasn't Dragon, imagine if Dragon summons a storm to destroy all the Marines and government ships currently surrounding Egghead Island. Imagine if Dragon is about to usher in the greatest storm we have yet seen in the story.
I just don't know if that's going to happen at Egghead, but I do like the first half of this. Yeah, the whole thing, the wind behind Luffy's sails, all that stuff is such a cool idea. I really like that. What was I going to say? Oh, yeah, Parvision was, he was roasting Dragon before. Let me see what he said. He said, pessimism warning. Wind Logia lame. Oh, no.
Holy shit.
Oh, Dragon never going to recover from that one. Wind is just air that moves. What the hell? So that's just the gas no me. And Oda showed us what he thinks of it. LOL. Technically, Caesar is the Wind Logia. Wait. No. Okay. So let me dispute this. Wind is the movement of air, right? I do think there is a justification for making that a separate power. Just like how different fruits have different tiers of their fruit. There's a fire fruit and there's a magma fruit. There's, technically, you could say, for example, like, if there is a rock fruit, then the magma fruit is redundant because magma is just molten rock. So why can't the rock fruit just make their rocks really hot? I don't know. Like, I feel like there is a difference between what Caesar can do and what someone with a wind power could do. Caesar can control gas. He can control gases. And sure, the air is made of gases, but, we're also, like... We're not talking like Caesar can't make the air move in like a specific. He can't make the gases move in a specific way, as far as we can tell. Gases are gases. They're going to spread and fill a container or fill the environment the way gases do. They're going to go up, whatever. I'm not a scientist here, but I've never seen Caesar make like a blade out of gases, right, and then move it really fast. The way I see it if it is just a wind Logia, I do err on the side of it being like a storm Logia or something. That's cooler to me. But look, the wind thing is fine. The way I see it is wind is a really, really crazy ability. If Dragon can vanish into thin air, like think of it this way. Okay. Kizaru is a light Logia, so he can just become light and move around at light speed and then just blend into the light. Now imagine you could do that, but with just the air around you. Like I get Caesar could do that, but like I don't know. It's clear we're dealing with the shonen manga. Like we're not going to get ultra specific with it. Where like only Caesar can do that sort of thing with like moving air. Like only Caesar and his devil fruit have dominion over the air. I don't think so. And I feel like Dragon being able to literally vanish. There's even a scene earlier in this, like a clip showing Dragon almost doing that, where he's like, is it here?
Figure. In chapter 99, where it seems like a bolt of lightning from a sudden change in weather saved away anyone.
But like Dragon's like straight up.
Dragon's back as expected. Low we see contend. Hockey wind always
fuck
could mold put a place in rock.
Wait.
I wonder side by side in this other panel here on the screen during Roger's execution. I wonder.
Oh wait, no, it's not here. Where is it? Damn it! There's a part where like Dragon's straight up vanishing and then like reappearing. He's like literally teleporting around. Like he's just disappearing and reappearing. Like that's busted. That's busted. That's really broken. Like the man, that's a cool power. Oh, here's another thing. Here's another thing I will add to the I'm going to defend wind here. I'm going to defend my wind Logia here. Okay? Another cool thing about wind powers, I don't know if this is exactly what it is, but I can only assume that when Zoro and Mihawk, they do a big sword slash, right? That big wave that comes off their sword slash, like the thing that Mihawk can use to cut an entire mountain, or for example, Kaido, when he shot the wind blades, that one of them chopped off Kiku's arm. That was, I'm pretty sure, all those instances that I just described are just pressurized air. Like, it's just wind highly pressurized into a blade from like a slash or like a move that someone can do. So Mihawk, Kaido, they need a sword or a dragon devil fruit to make wind blades that seem like they do a pretty good job at cutting things, cutting mountains, cutting people's arms clean off in like one swipe. Like those like slashes that travel through the air are really powerful, really strong, and that has to come from like some sort of outward force that you do with an attack. But now, let me present you this scenario. Imagine not needing a sword or a dragon tail or like some sort of like, you don't need anything to make the wind just turn into blades. Imagine just having full control over wind and air pressure. Like, just think about how broken that is. Because then you could create a blade of air without even having to move. Like, you could just spawn them. Like the way that Kizaru is shooting like light lasers out of his finger or his foot or whatever with his kicks. You could do that with a wind fruit. Like, you could straight up create blades that are just chopping at people from all directions. Because how are you going to avoid the air? How do you avoid the wind and the air? How do you avoid that? It's everywhere. Right? You can avoid light in a way. Like, if you can be in an environment of total darkness, and that might not be the best for a light Logia. Crocodile's devil fruit works best in the desert because it's sand, and there's a lot of sand in the desert. So if you're telling, like look at this example, like Crocodile chose Alabasta and wanted to keep it dry to some degree to benefit his own powers, because his powers benefited from sand. The presence of a desert made Crocodile a lot stronger. Say what you will about early One Piece, got busted by pre-time skip, pre-hockey Luffy. But that point aside, if you surround yourself with your element, your devil fruit is even stronger. Instead of just having to naturally produce it yourself, it's even stronger. Well, Dragon, at all times, no matter where you are on the planet, I guess besides the ocean itself, you are surrounded by air. You're surrounded by oxygen and air. If he can control wind and air pressure, it's over. Like, that's one of the most broken abilities, in my opinion. So yeah, it's not the most flashy or coolest idea, Par. I agree with you. But I do have to defend it. I think it can be incredibly busted strong. And if it's drawn the right way, I mean, Oda's going to make it look cool. Like, imagine Dragon's just all the way over there. And then all of a sudden he just teleports and he's all the way over here. Because he's the wind. Like, you just... Dragon... Alright, here, let me paint a visual for you. Marineford 2 happens. Everyone arrives at Marijois. Dragon pulls up. He's at the back of the fleet. He's all the way in the back. He's staring down Emu from the back like this. Dragon's ready. He's about to strike. He looks like this. Wind blows. Wind blows past Dragon. Whoosh. And then Dragon's gone. Wind blows like this. And he's fucking gone. And then wind blows again. Oh, what's up? It's me, Dragon. I'm all the way over here now. Good luck fighting against that guy.
Two men have, Shanks and Dragon. One a father figure, the other Luffy's biological father.
Alright, next
Dragon
theory.
represents a storm of the wind. And after watching this theory, it really just got me truly excited to finally see Monkey D. Dragon in the final saga. And shout out to Vinland D, make sure that you go and check him out. This next dude is a really humble guy. You know, I've gotten to speak to him multiple times, on stream, off stream. I like how he's willing to learn and ask questions to bigger creators. And if you know me, you know I love talking about anything regarding YouTube. So when this guy first hit me up asking for advice, we had a great conversation. And he's always been great to me ever since. This man specializes in One Piece theories, so let's hear what Den Den Kushi has for us.
Yo, it's Den Den Kushi. You know what it is. We're up here with Preach, smashing the theories, so let's get straight into it. The first clue
My
to
man.
the location of God Valley is in its name. The definition of the word valley is a low area of land between hills or mountains, typically with a river or stream flowing through it. This describes the only picture of God Valley we've seen. The word valley originates from Nordic myth, something we know Oda has tied to the story many times. When we look at what the word originally was, we discover something very interesting. It's a ford, spelled Fjord, again describing a deep, narrow, elongated sea or lake with steep land on three sides. If you watch someone say ford on TV, sometimes the subtitles will still use this spelling. The English version of this word is ford, so Fjord without the J. The definition of the word has warped over time.
Okay, Brandon was asking me to check super chats. Ismail, thank you for the 60 Egyptian pounds, bro. He said like these stream once again. I appreciate that, bro. Definitely like these stream if you haven't already. And let me check out the one that Brandon you sent. Brandon said Charlie saw Damaro destroying Fishman Island, not Luffy. Damaro is in reference to Damaro Black. If you guys don't know, I'm sure you guys know. But this is the Luffy impersonator. This is Damaro Black. This is the one who destroyed Fishman Island in Charlie's vision. So, what is going on with this one? Hold on. Damn. All right.
Now being a ford is a
Thank
shallow
you
place
for the
in a river
donations,
or
guys.
a stream allowing one to walk or drive across. Where can we find the word ford in One Piece? Marineford. So if valley is ford, then what about the god part of God Valley? Well, for starters, Kuma was at Marineford and he held a Bible there. Luffy falls from the heavens to join the fight, a reference to descending from the heaven. Of course, Luffy was present with the sun god Nika fruit, and Whitebeard was present with the potential earth god fruit. Another interesting example of a god tied to Marineford is currently in the story we have the Egghead incident. 38 years before that we had the God Valley incident, and 38 years before that we had the incident with Mother Carmel.
It was 40, wasn't it 40 years? It was 40 years.
866. During this incident, Carmel
Nerd emoji. It was 40 years.
infiltrates the giants as Sister Carmel, a nun. The sun shines down on her, giving off
It's 38 years before the start of the story, 40 years before the current point in the story, post-time skip, if I'm not mistaken.
She discusses a message from the heaven. Despite the fact we get the impression from the surroundings this is Marineford, it's never actually explicitly stated to be. This could be a big clue that at the time Marineford was going by a different name. The God Valley incident has other connections to Marineford through the characters that were present at the summit. This ties to Inherited Will and the way Oda has historical events in the story reenact themselves. For example, how Joy Boy Nolan and Luffy all freed Tontatas every 400 years. At the Summit War, we had Whitebeard, Garp, Buggy, Shanks, Rogers inheritor Luffy, Zebek's inheritor Blackbeard, and Kaido was said to have tried to attend also. These characters were all either at God Valley or have inherited the will of someone who was present there at one point. The whole war seems to be a runback of the God Valley incident. For example, 4 would-be Yonko were present at God Valley, and 4 would-be Yonko were at the Summit War. Kobe went on to become a hero of the Marines, as we know, and Garp
That's
got
interesting.
exact
I
same
like
name
that.
from the God Valley incident. We can also find clues in the landscape too. Except for Wano, like pillars in the corner, Marineford is stated to be completely made out of bricks and steel, suggesting almost all of the natural features that were native to the island are now gone. In addition to this, we see this crescent moon shape as the port of Marineford.
That scared the shit out of me. I was like, what? Where's that coming from? I thought that was like I thought that was on my end.
This matches our new friend Garling, whose hair design is also a crescent. We also see
Is it 38 years before post-time skip? I don't think it is. I thought it was. Isn't the God Valley incident 40 years ago? Wasn't that the number? I'm actually I'm fact checking this right now. I have to do this, guys. Am I in the fucking Bernstein Bears universe? When was it 38 before the present? I thought it was 40. Did I create that myself? Like, is that just like a thing I mixed myself up on? I thought it was 38 years prior to when the series started, and then 40 years prior to the current timeline. It's 38. Oh, so it was... Really? Well, I was wrong. I'll hold that L. Damn, I didn't know that. I thought it was I could have sworn it was 40. Huh.
Depiction of a dark clouded sky present in both Marineford and the God Valley incident.
Where'd I
An
get
incident
40
in which
from?
Carmel freed the giants too. We also heard families lived on Marineford, which is another connection, as celestial dragons had slaves there and so likely also had their own families there. Slavery is another connection between Marineford and God Valley. The triangle made by Annie's Lobby, Impel Down and Marineford mirrors the triangular trade of the 6th century. This was the trade route used by the slaving industry in real life, and the Toraya current, which controls the water inside the Gates of Justice, is inspired by the trade winds. These winds enabled ships to travel much faster within the triangle. We also have the Oxloyd Bell, or Oxbell. This was found on Marineford and was used to ring farewell to the passing year and bring in the new year. It's heavily inspired by the real-life Lutine Bell. Here's an open statement at the top of the Lutine Insurance webpage. These guys have a bad reputation for insuring the slave industry, so the Oxbell is definitely a nod to this slavery bell by Oda. Now, we know there were slaves at the God Valley incident, but if you're familiar with Bendham theories, you'll know I strongly believe God Valley is where
That might
slaves
be
were
it.
taken to be.
That might be it, Alexander and Duarte. Or Duarte, is that true? Was Blackbeard born 40 years ago? I thought Blackbeard was younger than that. Let me see. Oh no, he's older, right? Marshall D. Teach. Oh no, he's 40. Okay. This is all right. So that might be it. Blackbeard is 38 when he debuts. So when Blackbeard pre-time skip is 38 years old, and now he's 40 years old. And I guess maybe my mind connected Blackbeard's age to the origins, like to his, the fan theory origins of God Valley. That would make sense then. That I took that, like I mixed up Blackbeard's birthday or like his age with the God Valley incident. That makes sense.
Experimented on, particularly experiments dealing with lifespan and extended life. This is looking ever more likely with Darling looking like Kureha. This is where it gets wild though. Firstly, during the war, Sengoku appeared relatively calm about what
I don't know
was
about
happening at Marine.
They're just
and
both
didn't seem
old. That doesn't really... They don't look like each other.
Fighting. However, as soon as Blackbeard started destroying the island itself, Sengoku freaked out and rushed to stop it happening. He says a couple red flags also, the strangest of which is, you don't know what you're doing, when Blackbeard starts wrecking the ground. Mixed with his reaction, this makes for a suspicious panel for sure. Furthermore, when Akainu is smashed into the ground by Whitebeard, it's later shown he finds a tunnel underneath Marineford. This suggests there is something below Marineford itself, which I think are the ruins of God Valley, similar to what we've seen in Wano, Alabasta and Water 7. So, in conclusion, I think that during the God Valley incident, the island was leveled. In its rubble, the world government built Marineford. All that's left to God Valley are the 4 pillars of the corners of the island, and its name was changed to ensure the name would never appear on maps again. Anywho, dudes and dudettes, always a pleasure. Huge love to Preach for picking this up.
All right, so unfortunately, as far as I can tell, I mean, unless something really changed at Marineford, God Valley being Marineford is not possible because Marineford existed prior to the God Valley incident. It says, I'm looking on the wiki here, and I thought I remembered something about this, but 100 years ago, the remnants of the giant warrior pirates that disbanded after their captains Dory and Bragi entered a quarrel were captured and brought to Marineford to be executed at the Oris Plaza. And as they were about to be executed, Sister Carmel, later to become Mother Carmel, stood up and basically brought a message from the heavens to save their lives. This was 100 years ago. So Mother Carmel saved the leaders of the giant warrior pirates at Marineford well before the God Valley incident ever happened. So unless Oda is faking us out with what God Valley looked like in that little flashback thing, I don't know if Marineford and God Valley being the same location, I don't think that's possible. But that being said, I do think that there's something about like the parallels there that you were pointing out, Kushi, that I thought were cool. And I think that's very possible that maybe Marineford was, or at least the circumstances surrounding the God Valley incident may have been very similar to the circumstances surrounding Marineford. It could be, right? Now let me add this to your theory, Kushi. it could be that remember that panel where Kaido's in Wano, or like in Wano we get Kaido's flashback for a bit, and then Big Mom pulls up around the corner on the rock ship, and she says to young Kaido, she goes, "Hey, we're going to God Valley, like right now, let's go." And I've always wondered what that urgency was. Like, what was the urgency to like rush to God Valley, you know? Or like the way that Big Mom was saying it, it almost seemed like they were in a rush. So I could see it being, while they weren't the same location, I'm pretty sure that's like just a fact. I could see it being a situation where one of the Rock's pirates, or someone the Rock's pirates were friends with, was captured at God Valley by Garling and the Celestial Dragons or whatever. And maybe they were sentenced to be executed at God Valley. And then the Rock's pirates pulled up to God Valley to save their friend, a la Whitebeard and Ace, Marineford style, and then it broke out into such a big altercation between the Rock's pirates and maybe the lesser publicly known branches of the world government that it ended in the whole island being destroyed and Emu wiping it off the map because something happened there that the world cannot know about. So I think, I think that makes more sense to me. Like, it's not the same location, but the circumstances between Marineford and God Valley might be identical. I think that could be something. And that might also play into Whitebeard's values. Like, maybe one of the reasons Whitebeard did what he did at Marineford was because of rocks. I don't know. But clearly he took some liking to rocks in some way, shape, or form. Because I can't see Whitebeard following someone that's just evil, for the sake of it. So, and this goes back to the rocks did nothing wrong idea. But that's a cool theory from Denden Kushi. If you like that, you should check out his channel. But I will say I don't think they're the same location. Mr. Rubik's, that's a good idea. What about the hole in Enies Lobby? I've always thought that could have been God Valley originally. I have to fact check this on the timeline too, because if Enies Lobby has some event that happened there prior to God Valley, then that couldn't be the case. So, for example, the first thing I'm thinking of is Oimo and Kashi. How long were Oimo and Kashi at Enies Lobby, right? Because if they were there prior to 38 years ago guarding Enies Lobby, then there's no way that God Valley was there. But I like the idea, right? Because if Emu nuked an island and then did a big laser, that would leave a hole. Presumably, there's a hole in the ocean where Lelucia is now. I would assume the same thing happened to whatever was at Enies Lobby. Let's see if there's anything on the history of this place on the page that maybe says anything timeline related. Let's see, Oimo and Kashi. Let's go to Oimo's page on the wiki. I should probably pull this up on the stream so you guys can see what I'm even looking at right now. But this is an interesting topic. Weird number here. 38 years after the crew's dissolution. So that would be 62 years ago. Oimo's former crewmate Kashi voices concerns about their captain. Oimo said they should wait 10 more years. 50 years after the crew's dissolution, they set sail. They were captured. Next 100 years. Yeah. So it looks like they were guarding for the past 50 years, which would also rule out Enies Lobby as a location for God Valley. But, I don't know. There's a way Oda could write around that, maybe by having Oimo and Kashi guard somewhere else for a little bit. I don't know. And then they get moved to Enies Lobby. That would be a little bit jank, but...
drop a comment about what worked, what didn't, and I'll catch you over at Denden. Sub to Preach, do all that stuff, show him the love. Peace.
That's your cousin, Moog? Denden's your cousin? Oh, that's hype. I didn't know that. That's some lore right there. Got me into One Piece, actually. Oh, that's fucking sick. That's awesome, man. That's like me and the true Toby. Toby got me into One Piece. I love that. We're not cousins, though, but we might as well be.
Great theory, and I love all the connections you pointed out. And after going in with an open mind, I do think it's possible that Marineford is God Valley. At the very least, I'm intrigued to see how Marineford will further parallel God Valley when we learn more about the incident. Guys, make sure you go check out Denden Cushy. He's
go check him out.
Creator, he's a smaller channel, but if you like what he said here today, go to his channel, show
Smaller creator, smaller channel, big brain.
him some love,
And that's all that matters.
and make sure you subscribe. Alright, so this next guest is someone who is a true blessing in the One Piece community. I have the absolute highest of praises for this man because he's the greatest streamer in the community. You can tell this dude does everything he does purely out of love for the game. His passion, his excitement, his genuine hype, it's all so refreshing. Such a positive and kind voice in the community, and anytime there's a new chapter, he's my go-to reaction streamer because his energy is goated. A true legend, and that is the GOAT, King Recon.
Ever since the phenomenal
Are we getting the theory right now? I'm hyped.
chapter 967 dropped, and we were finally treated to that wonderful panel of Roger and his entire crew laughing as they saw whatever it was that was before them that we know as the One Piece. Ever since we got that, I haven't been able to stop thinking
One
about
of the best panels ever
how
drawn.
the Straw Hats are going to react
One of the best.
once we get to Laugh Tale. And the reason for that is because Rayleigh in Sabaody stated that perhaps the Straw Hats are going to be able to come up with a different answer than they did. And I wonder if it starts with the way that they react to the events of the Void Century. Because obviously, we have certain people within our crew, such as Robin and now Luffy, that are going to have direct connections to the individuals in the past. So I wonder, I'm going to assume that Oda wants to recreate that iconic panel and create a parallel with the entire crew laughing in joy as they experience Joy Boy's story, right? But what about if they don't? What about if we don't get a recreation of that panel, and instead their reaction is something completely different? And that is something that was brought to my attention from Yamato reacting to Luffy's dream. Because once Yamato figured out what Luffy's dream was, Ace's first thing was, oh, don't laugh at that. And Yamato was like, yo, I would never laugh at such a thing. So I wonder if such a thing would play out here again, where maybe Luffy, instead of laughing, he would be like, how could I possibly laugh at something like that? Whether it be because it's a tragic tale, or because, you know, perhaps something so insane was said that, you know, everybody started laughing like, yo, this guy's crazy, right? But maybe Luffy and him will be on the same wavelength. And you're like, no, I'm not gonna laugh at him. That's my dream too. Or maybe, you know, the other Straw Hats will look at Luffy and be like, yo, doesn't that have something to do with your dream as well? Because I've always had the assumption, especially after chapter 1060, that we might get a bigger clue towards Luffy's dream based on whatever we get in the Void Century. So the reaction to...
Yeah. That's cool. Like, yeah, so I love the idea of the reaction being different from Roger's, but the idea that maybe Roger didn't take that dream as seriously. I mean, Luffy seems to find it funny too, like he kind of, or like smiles about it, but he plays it straight. He plays it completely serious. I love this idea that maybe Luffy's dream, while he said the same words as Roger, the goal that Luffy has at the end of his dream might be closer to Joy Boy's original goal, and that might be totally unique to them. That's why everyone else finds it funny. Everyone else finds Joy Boy funny. They laugh. Joy Boy brings joy to everyone's face. He makes everyone laugh and smile. But But maybe their dreams are no laughing matter. Joy Boy's dream is not something. I mean, it's obviously, it might be silly when you hear it at first, but these men are completely serious about what they've come to do. Luffy and Joy Boy, Roger even, all of them are completely serious about what they came to do. They're not gonna let anyone laugh at that. And I find it interesting to think that maybe Luffy is gonna get there, and he's gonna be presented maybe the One Piece is Joy Boy's dream. And he's going to be presented with that, and maybe he's not going to laugh.
To what the One Piece is by the Straw Hats is something that I'm very, very interested in, because it feels like the way that they respond to the Void Sentry, the way that they respond to the One Piece treasure, the events that take place on Laugh Tale, that is going to, like Whitebeard said, lead into what turns the entire world upside down. Rayleigh bringing up the possibility that they could come up with a different answer than they did. What exactly does that mean, right? Whatever that means, I think we're gonna see the threads of that. I mean, I'm sure that the entire course of the journey is going to be the reason why they come up with a different answer. But in particular, the way they respond to that Void Sentry flashback, it might not be the parallel that we're all expecting, as awesome as that would be. Who knows?
So, I love this, Recon. I love this topic. And one thing that I've always thought about was like how laughter is used in One Piece, how everyone in One Piece has their own original laugh. That's something I feel like people haven't talked about in a good minute, is the fact that everyone in One Piece has their own original laugh. And there's a lot of emphasis on laughing, Laugh Tale, Joy Boy, the unique laughs, Roger laughed, all that stuff. There's a lot about, I mean, and One Piece as a whole is a very cartoony, comical story that has a lot of silliness in it. Yeah, laughing is a big part of the story. And I wonder, how much of that laughter is supposed to be straight up laughter, like, haha, funny, this is funny. I think to some degree the laughter might also be a tragic laughter. And I think a great example of this I can point to in One Piece is Saul, Jaguar D. Saul, where he's like, whenever you feel bad, whenever you feel like your spirits are low, or whenever something bad happens to you, just laugh. And he teaches Robin to laugh it off. And there he is. Saul is, at least at the time, we thought and he thought he was dying in front of Robin. And his final message to Robin, not even the part where he says, you'll find your friends someday. The final thing, I'm pretty sure, is he's smiling and laughing on his way out, right? And it's the same thing with like he's like telling Robin, like don't let it get to you. Like, I know this is horrible. What's happening right now is horrible. To me, to you, to your family, what's happening is horrible. But keep smiling, because there is a treasure you're going to find one day. You're going to find your Nakama one day. That's waiting for you. They're waiting for you out there, and the only way you're going to see them is if you smile through this. Right? This is a horrible thing, but you got to smile through it. And it's like with Law and Corazon, when Corazon, the last thing he says to Law is, I love you, and he smiles as the chest closes. And it's like, and like all the members of the D, when they're faced with their death, they smile. And I wonder how much of it is like, yeah, we're facing the bad things in the world, we're facing death, and we're smiling at it, and that's like a, it's like a bravery thing, it's like a no regrets thing, like I led a life with no regrets. But at the same time, I can't help but wonder, Robin sailing away on that ship and trying to laugh, pretending to laugh to herself, but in reality she's crying. I wonder, when Roger laughed at Laugh Tale, was that actual laughter? Was it funny? Is what I think about a lot. I thought about this a lot, because whenever I see people theorize about what the One Piece was, and we all point to that panel of Roger laughing, everyone always uses this as a criteria. And I say everyone, I'm just generalizing for a dramatic effect, but like everyone always points to that and be like, and they're like, whatever your theory is about what the One Piece is, now people point to that scene and they're like, well, that wouldn't make them laugh though, right? Because it's like whatever Roger saw had to make him laugh, had to make everyone there laugh. So whatever the One Piece is has to be something funny, right? Something that would make you laugh, something silly. But I don't know about that. I don't know if that's necessarily the only thing the One Piece could be. It has to be something that makes you laugh. How about they were crying? Crying looks a lot like laughter and crying are combined a lot in One Piece. We saw Saul using laughter as a coping mechanism. We saw him using it as a coping mechanism for horrible things. As Saul is getting frozen, he's laughing, going, "That is she," but tears are coming out of his eyes, right? So for me, it's like Roger found the One Piece, but Roger couldn't do anything with the One Piece, right? So he wouldn't be happy, like, and this is a deep conversation. Well, this is all about like what the fucking One Piece is, right? This is a big one we're talking about here, but like, yeah, like he couldn't do anything with the One Piece. He was too early. So obviously the point of Roger's adventure, or whatever he hoped to solve by finding the One Piece, if he hoped to solve anything, whatever Roger's dream was, at the end of Roger's dream, that Odin and Whitebeard thought he was ridiculous. They laughed at him. The same thing that Luffy said, what Yamato like had that realization. Roger never got to achieve his dream. The dream that Roger had that Luffy shares, or at least the words he spoke that Luffy spoke with him, Roger never got to see that come true because Roger died shortly after finding the One Piece. He never got to use it. He never got to do anything with it. So Roger's dream failed, ultimately, at least during his lifetime. Now, we could argue it didn't because it passed on to the next generation. He succeeded in that respect with the whole beginning of One Piece. But to some degree, there is a tragic element in when the Roger pirates got to Laugh Tale and they saw the One Piece. There's a tragic element to that. And we see in the Odin flashback, remember, our exposure to Roger getting to Laugh Tale and finding the One Piece is told from the perspective of Kozuki Odin. Kozuki Odin, in the very same flashback, proves to us that he is an unreliable narrator. He shows us in the diary that he's not a reliable narrator because he straight up lies to us. He says in his diary, when the Roger pirates split up and Roger disbanded the crew, not a single tear was shed. All of them were crying. We see it on panel. All of them were crying. But Odin tells us no one cried. And in the journal, it's written that no one cried. So he's an unreliable narrator. And they get to Laugh Tale, and he's like, Roger laughed. Roger laughed, and not only does he say that Roger laughed, not only did Roger laugh, but he laughed. We laughed until tears sprang to our eyes. Could that be a half truth? Could that be a half truth? Could it be that yeah, tears did spring to their eyes, but it wasn't laughing until they were crying, and maybe they were simultaneous. Maybe they laughed as well as a coping mechanism, and they laughed and cried at the same time. You know, imagine getting to the Laugh Tale and then either seeing something that you know you can't do anything with, or that you can't actually achieve your dream, and all of it was for nothing, at least in your lifetime, or even better, and this is what I personally think, my theory about what Roger actually found is this. I think when Roger got to Laugh Tale and he's got maybe the chest or wherever the One Piece was supposed to be, there was nothing there. I think there was nothing there. And I think Roger, when faced with a fucking empty box, you know, like, or an empty box or an empty spot where there should be a treasure, when faced with nothing, the tragedy of the situation hit where it's like, I'm too early. The One Piece isn't here yet, right? It doesn't exist yet. Fuck. We've been chasing a phantom this whole time. And then it's so absurd. Like the fact that there's nothing there, they did all this for nothing, and they can't even see the fruits of their labor come to fruition. That would make me laugh. But in a tragic way. In a tragic way. You'd almost laugh like, ha ha, wow, why me? How unlucky. How unlucky. I'm the first man to conquer the entire Grand Line, and I'm 20 years short. 800 years. We've been waiting for the One Piece to come into existence, and I'm short by just 20 years. I missed the mark by 20 years. Only 20. And what's worse, he won't even live to see it because he has an incurable illness that's going to kill him within a year. So, it's like the most incredible perfect storm of bad luck. And I feel like, maybe Roger laughs there. Yeah, Duarte, it's the Heisenberg laughter. It's the tragic, like, why me laughter. Maybe it's the Saul type of dare she laughter. Like, hey, this sucks, but, like, laugh through it. And that's why they call it Laugh Tale. And one of the reasons I think that is, if you guys have seen my Gaimon video, I talk about this. But I think Gaimon is a representation of when Roger finds the One Piece. I think the whole point, why Oda wrote an entire single chapter for this one. Let me ask you this. Has Oda ever written anything in One Piece? At least, has he ever created an entire island in One Piece with its own original characters and a dedicated chapter? Has he ever done anything like that and not had it pay off in any way, shape, or form? Like, does Oda just introduce random ass shit like that out of nowhere, especially in a highly structured part of the story like East Blue? I know this is a rant, but hang with me here. Everything in East Blue was finely tuned. Oda had to cut things from East Blue that honestly should have been in there, but the editors told him to cut it because it wouldn't fit. He had to reach the chapter 100 mark. He wanted to hit the Grand Line at chapter 100. So we ended up cutting things from the first 100 chapters, like Daddy Masterson, right? Or Daddy the Father or whatever. That was gonna be in the story, and that got cut because like there's things that had to get cut. They were left on the cutting room floor from the first 100 chapters. So let me ask you, why is Gaimon there? Why did Oda keep the Gaimon chapter? It's one chapter and it has no relevance to anything else in the story. None. Zero relevance to anything. And the only interesting thing that happens in that chapter, in terms of like story relevance, is that Luffy offers Gaimon a crewmate spot and Gaimon turns it down. To me, that's like that chapter is a big fat red sign going like, look here, look at this chapter, this is crazy. Like this is important, you know? And the way I see it is like, okay, what is the story of the Gaimon chapter? Luffy gets to the island, okay? Gaimon went to that island, what was it, 20 years ago? Or some amount of years, not 20, but it was like some number of years that's similar, roughly similar to the amount of time in the past that Roger went to Laugh Tale. Like some odd number of years ago, Gaimon arrived at that island, and there was supposed to be a big treasure there, and Gaimon gets there, and he gets abandoned on the island, and he's literally stuck inside a treasure chest. And he's sitting there on that island, and he has to wait for a long-ass amount of time. I don't know about you, even 2 weeks stuck in a box on an island would be enough for me. The dude waited there for years of his life, to the point where he fused with the box, okay? That's a long time. Now, if you look at Gaimon as Joy Boy, as like a Joy Boy parallel, well, Joy Boy left his treasure on Laugh Tale and has been waiting for someone to come claim it for 800 years. Roger went to Laugh Tale and didn't get the treasure there. He didn't actually have a treasure to take home with him, and he also left that. It's been left there for years and years and years, waiting for someone to fulfill the original wish, which was to claim that treasure. So who fulfills the fucking wish? Who satisfies Gaimon's original goal? Luffy. Luffy is the Avenger. Just like Joy Boy couldn't accomplish his thing, just like Roger couldn't accomplish his thing, who's the one that's going to arrive at the island eventually and then do it for them? It's Luffy. It's Luffy. So Luffy arrives at Gaimon's island, and then he's the one using his devil fruit powers, mind you. He doesn't just climb the mountain. He uses his devil fruit to go up there. So this could also be a sign that the Nika fruit is very necessary for the One Piece. Could be. Luffy's fruit itself might be the key here. Yeah, so Luffy goes up there to get Gaimon's treasure for him, and then when he opens the treasure box, what is Luffy's reaction? He laughs. He laughs. And then what's inside the treasure box? Nothing. It's a bunch of empty treasure chests. And Luffy laughs at that. That's his initial reaction, is laughing at the empty treasure boxes. And then Gaimon is like, oh, well, I've had my treasure, here this whole time. It's my, my friends, the animals on this island. Now, I don't know if that's what's going to be how One Piece ends, obviously, but I think the nature of this story, and this is what I talked about in the Gaimon, if you guys are interested in a full explanation of this and you haven't seen the video yet, check out my Gaimon theory on my channel. I talk all about this. I do think Gaimon and the Gaimon chapter are a reference, or they're set up for Roger finding the One Piece. And I know that has to be possible because Oda, without a doubt, planned, at the very least in the beginning of the story, Oda definitely planned what the One Piece was and maybe what Roger finding it was like. I don't know if he planned all the in-between, but at that point in the story, Oda, without a doubt, already knew what the One Piece was going to be, and he probably had something in mind about how Roger found the One Piece. He had to have had these things planned, because these are elements that are set up in Chapter 1. So, is it out of the realm of possibility that he used Gaimon as a setup to prep us emotionally for when that happens? When they get to Laugh Tale, is it possible they're going to find a bunch of empty treasure chests and the One Piece may not exist currently, and that Luffy's going to make it exist? And the One Piece might be a concept, and a concept only. And it's only when someone who believes in it hard enough, who wants to make it real, can make it real. And Luffy's going to be the one to make that possible. I think that's how it's going to roll out. I do think that the reaction is not going to be the same as Roger's. I even though his reaction to the Gaimon thing was the same, Luffy laughed there, I don't think the final reaction is going to be the same. And I think, yeah, when they get to Laugh Tale, for sure, I think that the reaction is going to be different. I think that, yeah, they might not find anything. And now that brings me around to the end. Whew, rant over. Thank you, Recon, for setting me off on that train, because that's a fun topic. I love thinking about this. I think about this a lot. Like, if there's something I think about a lot in One Piece, it's specifically what the One Piece is. And I know that's a really dumb thing to say, because of course everyone thinks about that. But like, honestly, 967, that chapter really sticks in my head a lot. And I always think back to that chapter, the reaction, what was said by Odin in the journal. Like, all those things are important to me, because to me, there's no other chapter in the entire story that brings us. You have to understand that those like few pages or whatever are the closest in proximity to the One Piece we've ever been in the story. Like, we've never even seen someone so much as react to the One Piece up until that point. Until then, we've seen people talk about it. We saw Whitebeard talk about the nature of its existence. But those few pages are the closest we've ever been to the identity of the One Piece. And Oda, without a doubt, left us seeds in there. He planted seeds in there. And I wouldn't be surprised if the rest of the entire series, literally named One Piece, has seeds planted throughout for the identity of the One Piece. And that could go as far back as East Blue. That could go to the Gaimon chapter. And if there's any reason I could think, why? So like, imagine you're an editor and you talk to Oda and you're like, bro, this Gaimon chapter, this is filler. Like, we don't need this. Cut this. What would make you as an editor keep that chapter in the story? If you told Oda, we don't need the Gaimon chapter, this is pointless. What is this for? Can we remove this? Can we cut this? What would need to be said to you to make you agree? What if Oda then turned to his editor and then said, no, we need the Gaimon chapter because this is what the One Piece is going to be? What if he said to his editor, this is foreshadowing for the fucking One Piece itself. We can't remove this chapter. We need it. If I was his editor, I'd be like, all right, say no more. The chapter's in. Say no more, dude. You're telling me this one chapter is foreshadowing for the One Piece? All right, do your thing, bro. You know better than me. All yours. Keep the chapter in there. I imagine that dialogue that Oda and his editor had to have, and that's the only way I could see that going. Like, what do you say to convince them to keep that chapter in the story? Hey, maybe it's related to the ending. Okay, then in that case we can't remove it.
But I just wanted to present that scenario because I think it's very, very interesting for the Straw Hats to have a...
And that's True Toby. I'm sorry, Recon. True Toby says, you know what's funny? This theory stemmed from a convo Hidden and I were having, and I still remember Hidden's face lighting up when he realized Gaimon might be a foreshadow. I remember us having that conversation. I remember that. I remember, like, my mind was blown the instant that hit me. So yes, thank you. Let me tell you, Toby's been there for like the genesis of so many of my theories. This is one of them. Like that moment hit me like a train, man. When I realized like what the point of that chapter could be, sheesh.
Different conclusion, or at least a different reaction to the events of the Void Century than that of Roger, which potentially is the reason why Oda decided to show us the Roger flashback first and how they reacted to the One Piece. So whenever we see what takes place with the Straw Hats, potentially it is going to be something different. Of course, this is going to be a monumental thing that is going to be a very joyous occasion, you know, and the quote-unquote end of this legendary adventure. So of course, because it's One Piece, we're expecting it to be not only just a legendary moment, but a very happy and an incredible scene with the entire crew all rejoicing and, you know, living and remembering and reminiscing on multiple different things. But I'm not gonna throw out the possibility that they react, even if it's just a little bit.
Let me clarify. I don't think the One Piece was the friends we made along the way. That's the conclusion that Gaimon comes to, but I don't think that's what it's going to be. I think that the One Piece doesn't exist yet, and I think that it will exist. So I think there is a physical One Piece. It is a physical thing, and it will. So, like, if the One Piece isn't real currently, it's going to be real. It is a physical thing, and it's a tangible thing, and Luffy is going to make it happen. That's what I think is going to be. Just to clarify, Killer, I know, I get I mean, it's a joke, but like, I do want to, just in case anyone out there does misunderstand, I'm not saying the One Piece is the friends we made along the way and it's simply just air. I'm just saying that I think it maybe didn't exist at the time of Roger. Alternatively, I'll just throw this out there now. The One Piece could be something that basically tells you the story of the Void Century, or like in a very short form explains something about what happened in the Void Century, or is some irrefutable proof of Imu's origin or ungodly nature that would turn the world upside down. And it really depends on when we find the One Piece. Do we find the One Piece prior to the final war? If so, then whatever the One Piece is might be the thing that sets Luffy off to go pursue the final war. Whatever the One Piece is might be the motivation or the story that Luffy needs to get him to fight the world government directly. That could be it. It might be something tragic like that, and not just simply it doesn't exist yet thing. It could be already existing, and it just might be something so horrible that Roger couldn't do anything about it with his power, and it will take Luffy's Nika fruit to make that happen. So, a lot of ways we could go about this. Honestly, we could do a whole stream just talking about the identity of the One Piece. I might have to chalk that up on the list later, but
differently to the events of that flashback.
Listen, Recon, as a fan and as a fellow content creator, that was great. I really do think we could see a different reaction.
I like that idea,
Even Rayleigh
Pluton.
said maybe the Straw
Baby
Hats will come
Pluton's
to a
idea is
different
fire.
conclusion. I think Robin is really the key because she's the most knowledgeable about history, and I feel like she could be someone who decodes a different hidden layer in the Poneglyph's message. With her vast knowledge.
So before we move on to this final theory of this video, let me just read this. Baby Pluton says, I think the One Piece, if it's related to Gaimon, then since Gaimon is a man within a treasure box, the One Piece would be a treasure within a man. That's a really interesting idea. And I think I still lean towards it being a tangible thing, but if there's something related to like some inner value or will being related to the One Piece, that's cool. I like that inversion. Rabbithead wants to know how to submit one of your theories for review. You can send it in my Discord. If you go to the Promote Yourself channel, if it's a video, you can post it in the Promote Yourself channel, and I'll add it into the running. If it looks decently professional, I'll add it into the running playlist, and then it'll pop up in a future theory review stream.
knowledge, and as a prodigy, this would be a big moment climaxing all of her life's work, especially because Rayleigh told that to her specifically. And as a huge Robin fan, I'm all for seeing her interpretation and view on Laugh Tale. So before I present my own One Piece theory, I just want to give a huge thanks and appreciation to everyone who participated in this collab video. This is really what One Piece is all about. Community coming together and having a fun time discussing the series that we all love so much. So make sure you go subscribe to their channels and show them some love. I'll leave the links to everyone in the description. So the theory that I'll be presenting is a Skypiea theory. Skypiea was an arc that was so secluded from the rest of the world, being in the sky. And because of this, the characters in the Skypiean culture have never really made a return to One Piece's story, unlike other arcs. But the biggest travesty to come from this is Dials. Dials are lost to Skypiea, and they were so cool.
Miss Dials, bro. I miss him.
Being one of Skypiea's own unique technology, Dials were never really expanded on.
Let me just say that joke with the well-tempered snake, if you didn't watch the G8 filler arc, you did not see that joke play out to its maximum potential. Watch that fucking arc, man. That joke with the well-tempered snake is so funny in that arc because it comes back in one scene with Condoriano. Oh man. If you know, you know. Go watch that like last episode of Skypiea, then followed by G8. It's such a fucking great 1-2 punch of a Usopp joke. All for just like one joke. Honestly, I watched that whole arc just for that, because the rest of it's okay. It's like mid, but it's actually the best filler arc, never mind.
And after Usopp used them in a couple of fights against Luffy and Perona, we never saw them again. But if you remember, Dials were absolutely broken. I mean, Whitebeard killed Enel with the insane power of the reject dial. That was until Enel literally kickstarted his own heart, flexing his godly power. If Enel wasn't a broken Logia, he would have been done for. Whitebeard even says how the reject dial's power was so great that even he himself could die from using it. But the biggest question I have from all of this is, who on Earth created this mysterious technology? Where did the dial technology come from, and will it ever return? Why are they only found in Skypiea? In chapter 257, Gonfall speaks about the power of destruction that will be used from the powerful dial technology. He explains how a simple impact dial, if used properly, is enough to kill an average person. Legends tell of other amazing dials wielded by ancient warriors of the Sky Island that are far more powerful from this one. And one example he gives is the reject dial that Whitebeard used, which Gonfall claims is 10 times more powerful than the impact dial. And the dials in this chapter are even compared to military weapons. Now in One Piece, when something is
I don't know
ancient,
if it's that strong. The comparison there is a little extreme.
even compared to military,
I don't know if it's like these massive cannons is like the same thing. I mean, hey, I don't know. What am I? Has anyone measured the force, the impact force of one of these?
weapons.
Might be wrong on
Now,
that.
in One Piece, when something is called ancient, this also gets me thinking back to the Void Century. So is it possible that the dials were created during the Void Century era, a time when technology was so advanced? And so it got me thinking, what if Devil Fruits are the successors to the dials, making dials very early
Hey, thank you. Preach. Spread that gospel. Okay, so I didn't say that I have the theory, the Green Line video, the greatest devil fruit theory ever made. I think it's currently titled on the channel. Fucking ignore the title. Go watch that if you haven't. But in that video, I talk about how the Skypians use dials, and they are spiral-shaped objects that are used for the storage of matter and energy. And we have devil fruits that are also spiral shaped. They have those spirals, and they're used to store matter and energy, basically, in the form of powers inside. Now, dials come from, I didn't talk about this in the video, but like, you know, dials come from the ocean, and then the inversion is that devil fruits like hate the ocean. So and then here's the other thing. So like Skypians have dials, and they use dial technology. And in my theory, I basically figured that devil fruits came from Lunarians. Lunarians lived on top of the red line, right? Now, in the sky, they have dials. It's a very unique, amazing technology in Skypiea that we don't have on the Blue Sea. It's very useful, very unique to Skypiea or the Sky Islands. But what do they not have a lot of in the sky? Verth. They don't have verth. They don't have a means to grow plants. So their technology is using the things that wash up on their shores in the white sea. It's using shells, things like that. So the idea was, well, if Lunarians didn't live in the sky and instead Lunarians lived on top of the red line, well, that means that Lunarians, despite being a winged race, wouldn't have had access to dials. They wouldn't have had dial technology. What did they have instead? They had what the Skypians didn't have. A whole lot of Verth. The entire red line is a massive wall of Verth. Maybe that was what actual fairy Verth was, is the red line. So the idea I had was, well, maybe if they had a lot of Verth, then instead of making dial technology, their technology was plant related. They were all botanists, and they grew plants on this massive wall of Verth. That's why the Lunarians lived there, because the red line is an ideal place for botany, and it's also the furthest from the ocean, and these guys are constantly on fire, so I would imagine they don't like the water. So makes sense, right? So I always figured that yeah, dials and devil fruits might actually be deeply connected, and I really love the idea here that maybe they were the prototype for devil fruits. That's also I never even thought of that. That's an even crazier thought. I thought they existed simultaneously, but yeah, I really I love the dial thing. I think people need to talk about that more. Yeah. I mean, this. Thank you. I've never heard anyone else say this. Thank you, Preach. This is great.
Become devil fruits, the ability to embody your desires through eating these perfected fruits. For years now, I've been saying that devil fruits were actually created by scientists during the Void Century, a time when technology was more advanced. And then this theory became a lot more plausible when Vegapunk explained that the Ancient Kingdom was a highly advanced society through futuristic technology that's been lost to history. So looking at the different dials, flame dials could potentially allow you to shoot and breathe fire by holding something specific and unleashing it when the time is right. The Milky dial allows you to fly, shooting air through the sky, as we see Gadatsu attach these to the bottom of his shoes and shoot up in the sky like a rocket. The lamp and flash dials release light in both a controlled and explosive outburst. I could also see these become devil fruits in the future, like Ace's flame fruit, Kizaru's light fruit, or Shiki's float fruit. And I know this may seem like a bit of a reach, but if we think about the shells that are tied to dials, and many of these shells have a similar devil fruit like spiral look to them, maybe the shells themselves inspired the spiral design for devil fruits. Now what intrigues me is the raw potential of the dials. We can assume that Impact Dials was only one of these ancient dials that the warriors used, since it was the only one example we got from Gonfall, and this implies there was many more. So with how powerful the Impact Dial was, imagine the other dials that could have existed 800 years ago, and how many of these could have been even leagues stronger than the Impact Dial. You know, back in the days of the Ancient Kingdom, things just seemed to be absolutely massive. I mean, we have Zunisha, a giant elephant, Shirahoshi, a giant mermaid princess ancient weapon. There's the Sea Kings, giant sea creatures who've survived the downfall of the Ancient Kingdom. And there's also giants and the Oni race of ancient giants who once existed during that era. And whatever the hell Ors and his family lineage was. And speaking of the ancient giants, did you know that the ancient giants once existed in Jaya 400 years ago? We can clearly see this massive giant Oni, which looks something like a Ors-sized beast on the ancient map of Jaya, which was at least 400 years old. And the reason I bring this up is because could you imagine how powerful a giant dial could be if given to an ancient giant? It could possibly have the power to potentially wipe out entire towns.
That'd be crazy.
True military
a giant
weapons.
dial?
Ancient giants already being so naturally powerful, so they could withstand something like a dial. And we know Pluton was stated to have the power to one-shot an island. So I wonder, what if Pluton has these giant dial-like cannons attached to it? Or maybe once Luffy reaches Laugh the crew discovers some giant cannons that excites Frankie and Usopp. We brought up this idea before in the Laugh's Tale video, but after rereading Skypiea recently, it really made me wonder about the insane ancient war during the Void Century and how crazy it could have been. We've also seen how dials are so effective against enemies who can't comprehend what they are. For example, like in Usopp's fight against Perona. So imagine this being implemented into an actual large-scale army of D-Clan members back in the day against the Celestial Dragons. At the end of the day, dials are way more mysterious than even devil fruits, so I really wish we get to see more of them. I want to see new, more powerful dials and get explanations for how they work and how they're...
Preach, Ors, thank you for this video. Thank you for featuring me in the video. Guys, I seriously appreciate it. This was great. This is a really fun watch. I liked all the things that you guys put on display here. These are some great theories here. I'll go down the line and then just quickly summarize my thoughts on each right now. Real quick, Anthony, thank you for the $5, bro. He said, Hidden, have you seen any Dawn Dusk Japan vids? I have mixed feelings on Dawn Dusk's theories, but I mean, the content is, you know, it's fun. They're lighthearted, like short theory videos. I wasn't a fan of the ones I saw. The theories I saw made conclusions based off of, like, just incorrect info, at least the ones that I watched. But there's some fun videos there. I don't want to be mean, because obviously, like, you know, it's just like an opinion on like what theories you like or whatever. But the ones that I did see just didn't. There were theories that didn't really connect with me. Like it just felt like, had they put maybe more time into just fleshing out the idea, there could have been like a real, like, for example, okay, I'll just actually give examples. We watched, I believe it was a Nami theory, and then the other one was an inverted, like, hollow Earth, everyone's on the inside of the planet theory. Both of those, like, I think it was the Nami one that just, it just cut really short. Like, the video was like 8 minutes, and it didn't actually get to explain, like, a theory. Like, I feel like by the end of the 8 minutes, I didn't understand the theory still. And I felt like it could have used more explanation. And then the hollow Earth one was just not even, like, it's just not possible based on the way that the story's been written. Like, the way that the horizon is drawn, if everyone lived on the interior of the planet and there was a sun in the middle, in the core, and everyone's on the inner shell of the planet, the horizon would curve upward. It wouldn't curve away from you like a normal ocean's horizon would, right? So even just by the nature of the geography of the One Piece world, it's just an impossibility unless they're under some master illusion. But yeah, I've watched a couple Dawn Dusk videos, and I don't know, just wasn't feeling them. But that being said, they do make, you know, the videos are fun. They're not bad quality at all. So if you like them, more power to you. Anyway, but they're not like bad theory. I'm not saying they're bad theories. It's just the ones I watched I didn't love. But what was I gonna say? All right, let me quickly summarize my thoughts. Emu is space. The Emu is space power. This is a really cool idea. Obviously, we don't know enough about Emu to really say any which way, but I think it would be cool, and I could see preach out of pocket for this one.
For humans to reach the moon, meaning
yeah, so yeah, I like the Emu's space idea. I think that's a fun one, and I haven't seen people suggest that, so original. Pluton is a mole. I've already hyped this one up a ton of times. Great theory. I really love the way Dak presented this one in a short and sweet. This is a really, really short segment he did here, but he presented it very well, explained it enough to get anyone probably interested. So yeah, Pluton is a mole is a great theory, and I think that there's a good chance it might be true. God Valley Eden theory. This is with the Eden tree. Yeah, this one was okay. I honestly don't remember this one too much. Yeah, the Eden tree. Yeah, that's a. Oh yeah, the fig leaves. I like that connection. I don't know. The whole theory is the theory as a whole was all right, but I do like the little details and connections on this one. Mihawk definitely has Conqueror's Haki. I'm just not even gonna. I'm gonna go more further into that. He does. So I agree with this theory. This one's a fire theory. Whoever came up with this is a fucking genius. This Usopp thing here, whatever this is. Sabo's Checkered Fate. Yeah, I mean, this is another solid one. Like, I think Sabo definitely will be a major, like, catalyst for Luffy's, you know, call to action in the latter half of the story, or the latter quarter of the story, I should say. So, yeah, I do agree with this one. Solid theory. Law's Cursed Sword. Another really interesting idea. I want a little bit more proof, but I do like the idea, and I want... Like I said before, I want cursed swords to be more prominent in One Piece. I want them to become a bigger factor, and there's not that many swordsmen that are major characters. So, like, Law, yeah, big candidate for that. I would love that. So yeah, cool theory. Red Line Destruction theory. That's like the oldest theory ever made. But the Yeah, I don't know why he gave the red line. Was that even related? That wasn't even related to the Ashura theory. I thought he was giving the red line destruction theory as like a setup for his theory, but it was just two completely unrelated theories. And this one is like the theory. This is like the One Piece theory. I feel like the red line destruction, fulfilling the Fishman Island prophecy, and then creating the all blue, which also doubles as the One Piece, is like, I'm pretty sure it's like the fucking oldest One Piece theory ever. But the Zoro Ashura theory was really cool. I just don't agree with it being Conqueror's Haki, really. But I do like the idea. Dragon D Wind. All right, Vinland D Ragnar, my man, I got to give it to you. This might be my favorite one of the day. I love the dragon, like watching Luffy over the course of his adventure through the wind. And maybe it's not a wind power, but it could be a storm thing or whatever. But I do really like this idea a lot. I haven't heard this or thought of this before, but it struck a chord with me, and I'm gonna be hyping that one for a good while, I think. Marineford is God Valley. Like I was saying before, I don't think they're the same location. It can't be Marineford. It can't be Ennius Lobby either. We discussed that. But I do like the idea that the God Valley incident was a similar set of setup circumstances that led to Marineford. Like, it was kind of like a parallel situation where someone was captured, brought to God Valley possibly, and then Rox went to free them, and that led to everything else happening. So I do like that. The Laugh Tale reaction theory. King Recon, I mean, thank you for sending me on like a 40-minute rant about this, but yeah, I totally agree. I think the reaction is not going to be the same. I think it's going to be different. I think the reasons for why are still up in the air, but I mean, I gave a ton of reasons, and I hope that even one of them might be true, because I think that's the way that would make for a really good storytelling there. But obviously I trust Oda on it. I don't think it's going to be a one-to-one Luffy laughs, here's the One Piece. It's a dumb rubber duck, like, or it's like some dumb silly object, like, I don't, it's the bingo bongo toy. Like, I don't think it's going to be some silly thing. I think there's going to be some drama and tragedy behind the reveal of what the One Piece is. It's going to hit us to our core, I think, as readers, as people that have been following this series and waiting for that reveal and waiting for that ending, the thing that has been built up since chapter 1, to have it land on a tragic note and a heavy hitting, like, that just feels perfect for me. And then having Luffy resolve that. See, Luffy's good at taking the sad and resolving it into something happy. I think Luffy finding the One Piece and having that discovery be a tragic thing that Luffy then resolves into a good, happy thing is I think that's perfect and fitting for his character. So I do agree with this very much. And I'm not going to go on another rant. I was on the verge of that there. But yeah. And then the Ancient Dials theory, I mean, I got to support that. I love that. I love that theory. I mean, I was saying this last November. This is like one of the coolest little parallel things that Oda's done, and I think that it's definitely intentional. And I whether or not the Green Line thing ends up playing out, I do think that the devil fruits were grown on top of the Red Line. I have a very strong, I would say I'm like 95% sure that devil fruits were grown on the Red Line at one point. Which would mean Lunarians probably did it. Which would also make sense because Lunarians are themed after angels, and more specifically the devil and the fallen angel sort of thing. And, the devil is the serpent is the one that offered the forbidden fruit to Eve in the biblical story. Skypians worship a giant snake. Winged Society has like serpent connections, and there's, I could go on for days, but like the connections are there. I definitely believe in it. I think the dials and devil fruits and the nature of how they were invented are closely connected and related. So yeah, I agree. I really like this theory. So bangers today, guys, bangers. Everyone in this video, good content creators, are doing good stuff. I would go check them all out. Joy Girl, go check out Joy Girl. Go check out Dax Sake if you haven't. Check out Mr. Bushido on Reddit, or I don't know if he's on Twitter. He used to be in the Discord, not anymore though, for reasons we won't get into. The Wizard of Oars, obviously my son. Not my son. That was a little bit of my friend group slang slip. My bro is like my son. It's like the same thing. Not my literal son. But I say that to my friends. Anyway, Joe 3 Skull theories, like good theories. Par Vision, obviously you guys know Par. But yeah, if you haven't subbed to him, please do. Rock's Review. I've never heard of Rock's Review before. This is actually my first exposure to him. But he seems like a cool guy. So, and he seems like he makes good stuff. I liked his train of thought there. So check him out. Check out Ragnar. Check out Den Kushi and King Recon. And yeah, go sub to everyone. They're all doing good stuff. I know that it's cut off on the stream here. Here you go. So these are all the people that were featured in the video today. But yeah, these are all my sons here. Can I just start bringing that into can I just start saying that? I've been holding back on that slang because I didn't know how people would take it, like if they've never heard that before. Can I start doing that? I think that's like, I can connect that to One Piece, right? Because like Whitebeard, he's like my favorite character. He calls everyone his son. So, but yeah, so like me and my friends, we have this slang, and it's like, it started specifically in the local community for like fighting games that I was in, and it was for Smash, and we would all call each other my son. And I don't know how that started. I wasn't even there for when it started. But yeah, it just became like a standard slang where like, you know, like you refer to your friend as your son. I don't know how else to describe that. It's like it's just like a slang that I have. And that's like, it's like muscle memory for me. So, but yeah, people are going to say you are sunning people, which ain't a good thing. well, it's okay. If JD Legend can make the term rat endearing and like a good thing, then I can make the term son a good thing too. Like if he can say you're part of the rat pack and that's a good thing, then I can handle son. I think I'll be able to make it work. Hassan says my son is a New York thing too. Honestly, is it? I didn't know that. He said I used to say that all the time when I was in New York. I didn't know if that was like a New York thing or if that was just like a local my friends sort of thing. But yeah, I've been saying that for years. I'd be like, I'll just like dap my friend up. I'd be like, dap him up. You're my son. What's up, my son? Just dap him up. That's like, yo, True Toby, you're my son. Actually, matter of fact, all of you are my sons. You're all my sons, and I'm your son. All right, my sons. I'm glad I can unleash the sonage in this chat now. It's official. I'm gonna start doing this from now on. Great. I did promise my son Ismail that I'd be giving him some feedback. Let me see if I can find. I don't know if you're still here, brother, but let me see if I can find. You said Call D Hawk for the next live. Was that the name of the channel? Let's see. Call D Hawk. Okay, so I'm assuming this is your theory. All right, so I don't know if you're still here. My son and hype that part of common hidden vernacular. Yes, I do. I would say the vernacular, like me and my friends, like the things I say the most might be my son and hype that. Yeah, hype that is a big one. Yeah. Oh yeah, I went to the dentist today. Oh, word, hype that, man. Like that type of shit. All right. Anyway, Call D Hawk, my man. If you're still here and you're watching, I'll check out your video right now. If not, I hope you do end up watching the VOD because we're going to jump right in. It's 10 minutes. I can handle another 10-minute theory to close out the stream. Shout outs to my son. Let's watch now. Luffy's fate revealed.
Will, the destiny of the age and the dreams of the people. As long as people continue to pursue the meaning of freedom, these things will never cease to be. Gold D. Roger.
I like that. I like that dramatic intro. Did you have sound effects there too? Like Roger sitting down on the platform?
Will never see these things. People continue to pursue the meaning of freedom.
The is that from the anime? That's nice. I love that. A little dramatic. So, okay, so let me just say this. Let me say this, Call. I used to open my videos. For a dramatic note, I'd open my video with a quote from One Piece. I'd pick like a quote from an important character, and I'd stick it on the screen at the start of the video. I like that. I like that. I like that stylistic choice.
Roger.
I stopped doing it, but I respect that you're doing it. Please keep doing that. That's cool. I love that shit.
Did you ever wonder what that means and what the One Piece story is actually about? Well, after 26 years of absolute love for this wonderful piece of fiction, I'm here with the answer.
I like this filter you put over the anime clips. This probably helps you out a ton with copyright too. Like you put this like it almost looks like it's been made in PictoChat, like it or like Flipnote on the DS. This is like I like this filter you got here. But like I don't mean that in like a sarcastic mean. I mean like genuinely. I've been trying to find like a solid filter I could put over my anime clips so that they don't trip copyright. Like I've been wanting to find something like that. But this looks good. Nice.
I'm here with the answer.
It looks like a moving manga panel.
Stick around if you
That's cool.
love One Piece as much as I do. And don't mind me spoiling the end of it for you.
And the jazz music?
Now, One Piece
I see you, bro.
has been an integral part
I love
of
it.
my life during the past 20 years or so. I love this. It is one of the best modern pieces of fiction, in my opinion. And I just wanted to create this content and share it with the community.
Glad to hear that, bro.
Without further ado, let's just get into this. Spoiler alert, however, if you are not up to date with the manga until namely chapter 1086, then please do yourself a favor and do not continue this video unless you really don't mind being spoiled.
So, first impressions, okay? Also, I like the Doki Doki Literature Club there. All right, first impressions. So, I love the visuals. So, in terms of the filter you put over the anime clips that make it look like a manga or like a animated manga, really cool. I like that. I like the snappy edits where you're putting in like little facial reactions or things like that to like emphasize what you're saying. That's a big thing I think a lot of people on YouTube should do more of, is like using the combination of audio and video to your advantage. Combining like having the timing of your voice match what's happening on screen in terms of pacing or in terms of tempo. Cool. That's great, and it keeps people engaged. I noticed this is gonna trigger my OCD. There's a smudge on my monitor here. I don't even know how that happened. Other impressions. Jazz music. I love that. I can see the influence. I'm assuming that's my influence there, and I do appreciate that greatly because I personally love whenever jazz music is used as the background for a video. I think it's a really good thing to talk over, especially like just like mellowed out piano jazz. So yeah, I think that's a great choice of music for the background. Much better than like, there's like those like remixes or like the remakes of like the One Piece soundtrack, and I just feel like a lot of people use that. So it's nice to just like get that the breath of fresh air and like have like a little bit of a different background sound. Other things, yeah, the quote at the beginning was cool. So all that's good. And one more good thing I've noticed, the spoiler warning. I respect you putting the spoiler warning in the video. I appreciate that. But now it's time for the critiques and advice, okay? And I know we're only a minute in, but the point of this is constructive criticism. Number one, the spoiler warning, and this is something I had to get around to. You don't need to put it a minute 32 into the video. You don't even need to put it in the video at all, to be honest. If anyone's watching your One Piece video and actually actively seeking out One Piece videos on YouTube, chances are they're caught up, I've realized, because now I'm not trying to say that justifies putting spoilers in the thumbnail. Different story entirely. I'm saying if someone is actively clicking on One Piece videos, chances are they're not afraid of getting spoiled. Because at least I know, maybe this is just my logic, but if I'm not caught up on a series yet, the last thing I'm going to do is watch a video about that series, because I don't know if I'm going to get spoiled in the video, right? If I'm clicking on a video about, like, let's say I wasn't caught up on, I don't know, Game of Thrones, and I saw a Game of Thrones video on YouTube. If I'm not caught up, there is not a shot in hell I'm clicking that video, because I don't want spoilers. I don't know what they're going to say. There might be a spoiler in the first 2 seconds of that video that I can't avoid once I click on it. So, in my opinion, you don't need to take time out of your video to put a spoiler warning for people. You don't need to do that. What I do is I put the spoiler warning, and I use an asterisk to draw attention to it. I put the spoiler warning in the description. So just to have it there, just in case someone stumbles onto the video and isn't sure and they still want to check it out, at least in the description, I can tell them what chapter it spoils up until if they're looking for that. That's what I do. You don't need to take time out of your video to do that. I had to get over that myself. The reality is, anyone that's looking for spoilers, or anyone that's not looking for spoilers, is not going to be watching videos about that subject. At least someone smart that doesn't want to get spoiled. So don't worry about that. It takes time away from you. It takes valuable time away from what you could actually be talking about, which is the theory. Another thing, it's a little bit of a long introduction. Now, this is the one thing I will say. I love the way you've introduced it, and you definitely warmed me up to your personality here. You have a nice chilled out presentation. It reminds me of like my older videos. I used to talk slower. In my oldest videos on my channel, I talked a lot slower. I had the more chilled out, old school jazz playing in the background, and I would kind of like mellow out my voice. I'm not trying to say that don't do that. I'm just saying pick up the pace a little bit. We haven't got to the theory yet, but we're already 1/10 of the way through the video. So pacing is important. And in my opinion, if the video is 10 minutes, then the intro shouldn't take more than 20 seconds, for example. Like, the intro should be a small portion of the total video. I have a lot of people that come into my comments and they're like, bro, you gotta shorten your intro. Meanwhile, the fucking video is like 45 minutes long. I'm sorry, but if you can't sit through a 45-second introduction, but you're just about ready to sit through a 45-minute video, your priorities are not straight. But the reality is the intro shouldn't take up 10% of your video, is the point I'm making here. My intros typically, I mean, if they do, I made a mistake, but my intros typically won't take 10% of my video. They'll take probably 5 or less. And then the rest of the video, 95% plus, is the content of the video. So that's my advice and criticisms I've noticed so far. Let me continue. In terms of audio, I used to get on people's case about audio. You seem to have mixed the audio well. The sound in the background, the audio, the music is not intrusive. It's not covering up your voice. I can still hear your voice very clearly, fine. You don't need an amazing mic. Your mic's quality is fine. Most people watch YouTube videos off their phone anyway, so no one's going to notice the difference in mic quality. So where in the past I would say maybe spend more time on the audio, now I'm going to say as long as the music isn't overshadowing your voice, you're fine. This mic seems okay. So far so good.
Now, before I start though, I must give a huge shout out to this wonderful One Piece community, whose content certainly influenced my conclusions in this video. Hence, and in no particular order, I would like to shout out Joy Girl, The Hidden Island, Randy Troy,
thank you, bro,
King of Lightning, Parvision, Artur, the Library of Ohara, Threeville, Dexake, and Mr. Morge.
A whole bunch of goats.
You guys and girl are awesome. Your content is awesome.
Yes.
Please keep doing
Everyone's.
what it is that you do. Also, and
Thank you,
before
bro.
getting into the details, let's just set the expectations here. I will not give you the name of the ancient kingdom in this video. I will not tell you what the D stands for, but I will tell you what it actually means. I will, however, tell you all of what this means.
Okay.
And
Another piece of advice. Don't say that. Don't tell the audience that. When you tell people I'm not going to tell you the name of the ancient kingdom or what the D stands for, right there, a ton of people click off the video. A ton of people click off. I know it sounds wrong, but just don't say it. Even if you don't plan to say what it stands for, as long as the video's good and you're not just talking about something completely irrelevant for the 10 minutes, you're fine. It's okay. You don't have to reveal all. You don't have to reveal all the answers of the universe in your video. But if you prep people and you tell them I'm not going to reveal these things, anyone who came to the video looking for that is going to click off, and that's going to tank your viewer retention, and it's going to kill your video. So the reality is you want to get your video out there. You want people to watch it, and you want people to stick around as long as possible. You don't want them to click off your video, so you don't want to say things that are going to encourage people to leave the video. If you say something like, yeah, blah, 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 I'm not going to talk about this, then they're going to be like, oh, well, in that case, that's the only reason I clicked. I'm leaving. And then they leave. Don't say it. You're better off just keeping people hooked and letting them realize that... my dog's trying to get in the room. You're better off letting people learn themselves that you didn't explicitly reveal the name of what the D is in the video. And worst case scenario, you get a couple commenters that are like, bro, you didn't say what the D stood for. You only talked about the meaning or whatever. At that point, they're commenting anyway, which helps boost your video. More comments boost your video. So if someone's going to get angry at you and say some dumb shit in the comments because you didn't put this disclaimer here, they're just helping you anyway. So just ignore it and just let them comment. So at the end of the day, yeah, don't say that. Don't say in your videos, I'm not going to talk about X, Y, or Z that people might think you're going to talk about clicking on it, right? You wanted people to discover that for themselves and discover that over the course of watching your video instead of giving them a hard point to just leave at if they don't like what they're hearing. That's a piece of content creator advice there. Another thing, once again, we're still not at the theory, and it's almost 3 minutes in. So now we are reaching almost a third of the video is the introduction. And I do love the shout out. I appreciate you for the shout out. But just as a piece of advice for content creation, you never, ever, ever want to take this long to get to the meat and potatoes. If your video is 10 minutes, try and keep everything within like a percentage, like 5% or less of the video should be dedicated to your introduction. So in this case, 10 minutes really shouldn't be more than like a 30-second intro.
It will also tell you how it will all end. Aside from the obvious, Luffy will find the One Piece. So, if you want to know what the meaning of D actually is and what the story is building up to, and want me to sum it all up, 30 years of storytelling just in 10 minutes, well then let's get started. The D. Now I know that everyone wants to know what that stands for and what the D actually means, etc., etc. But I'm sorry to break it to you. It doesn't matter what the D stands for. It can stand for dreams, for dawn, for Deva. Shout out to Threeville there. But ultimately, what the D actually stands for doesn't really matter. As a matter of fact, the D can be a B, it can be a P, it can be an S, and it wouldn't change anything about its significance. As a matter of fact, the D is actually an X. Do you see that X right there? Yeah, this one. Remember that? Well, that's the D for you, right there. I believe that this was just confirmed by Oda in chapter 1085. When Nefertari Cobra confirmed that Queen Lily signed the 800-year-old letter as Nefertari D. Lily. It is a choice. A choice that Lily made 800 years ago. And that Emu was absolutely furious to see confirmed by King Cobra. It is called the will of D, after all. And a will, in essence and by definition, means a choice. It's not about genetics, ancestry, or a bloodline. It's about making a choice that was made by Queen Lily 800 years ago, and that was repeated by Princess Vivi 2 years ago. This idea is further confirmed by Sabo's small flashback in chapter 1085, when Ace told him that he could just have the D in his name if he so chose. This, I believe, is Oda just telling us and foreshadowing the fact that you are not just born a D, you can become one, but only if you so choose. So what does that mean? What does it mean to choose to be a D, and what does that entail? Well, quite simply, it means being human. It means being mortal, being free, unlike Emu. The entire One Piece story is about fighting against discrimination. You can be a fishman, a giant, a tontata. You can have whatever background you want, but you can always choose to unify as one. You can choose to be a D. The D is about setting aside our differences and choosing to live together as one.
I like
as
that.
One piece. Even our favorite protagonist, Monkey D. Luffy, did not make that choice explicitly yet. As a matter of fact, he doesn't even care about what the D actually means. His actions, however, suffice to identify him as a D, given that he draws everyone towards him. But I believe that Luffy will ultimately make that choice expressly at the end of his journey and will come to this realization. Which leads me to my second point, which is the story's conclusion and Luffy's fate. I'm sorry to break it to you like this, and I know that a lot of people are gonna be upset about this and about me saying this, but Luffy is gonna die. This is, I believe, what Oda has been building up to and foreshadowing until now. Now, as I said, the D is about being
Yo, see you,
mortal.
Johannes.
This is why people
Thanks for being here, bro.
inherit that will throughout time. Joy Boy died, but he knew perfectly well that someone else would eventually come to fulfill his will. Someone who shares that same will, the will of D. Ever since Luffy discovered his gear upgrades, ever since Gear 2 in Enies Lobby, Oda has been hinting at the fact that Luffy is using his life energy to unlock his powers. This is the price of him being free, of him using the Hito Hito no Mi model Nika. The price that he has to pay is his livelihood. This is further confirmed by Oda each time that Luffy uses his Gear 5 transformation, where we always get a panel or two of Luffy looking weak, depleted, and old. Luffy's mortality is what is being put on display here, and his life is evidently the price that he has to pay for his freedom. This is equally foreshadowed by the fact that Gold D. Roger, the Pirate King himself, experienced an untimely death and embraced it fully, rather than trying to avoid it. All of this ties back to the Shinto philosophy of flow versus stagnation. In Shinto belief, stagnation is synonym to filth and impurity. Stagnant water translates to bacteria and impurity, whereas flow results in renewal, growth, and ultimately purity. Emu here represents stagnation, being jailed by the shackles of time, being immortal. And Joy Boy and Luffy, on the other hand, represent flow, renewal, and the constant transmission of the will of D from a generation to another. And now for the biggest spoiler moment of this video that will be revealed, I believe, in a 5 years time. And I really don't like to say I told you so, but I truly believe that Trafalgar Law will offer performing the immortality surgery to Luffy after Luffy is completely drained by an excessive use of his Gear 5
That's a pretty
transformation in combat
common
in the final
idea.
war. This, I believe, is the moment when Luffy will expressly choose to be a D by accepting his death, accepting his mortality, rather than having his friend Trafalgar Law sacrificing his life for Luffy to become.
Well, Law is also a D. Law is also a D too. So it has to be like, it would be like a mutual thing. I don't know if Luffy has to accept to be a D. I mean, I think he already is. He says his D every time he says his name. He's like, I'm Monkey D. Luffy. Like, he always uses the D in his name. So he's definitely fully accepted the fact that he's a D. I just think he isn't fully aware of what that means. But I do like the idea of like, yeah, the X that connected all of the Straw Hats to Vivi might be the same thing with the D that connected Joy Boy to Lily. And it could be that the reason Lily signed her name with the D there would have been that like maybe it's at the end of the Void Century and something went down and Lily and Joy Boy had to part ways forever, and that D that she included in the letter that she signed her name with was a way of her signaling who her friends are. Like, yeah, this is my friend. Like the same way Vivi held up her arm with the X. And then there's the whole thing with like Vivi couldn't, or like they couldn't say that they're friends to Vivi in front of the Marines because the Marines would then call Vivi a criminal, which is why they had to hold up their arms in solidarity and be silent with the X on their arm. And then Vivi reciprocated that, but maybe the signing of the D on the letter was the bad thing to do. Maybe that put Lily in the sights of the world government, and that is what happened to her. Maybe they vanished her. So yeah, I don't know about the Luffy death thing and the law reviving Luffy. Like that for me, it's like I don't know if Luffy's gonna die. I don't think he will. He's too much of a household character for. I mean, like Goku. He's like a Goku for people. Like Goku doesn't die. You know, he's just too much of. Like Luffy is a symbol of like happiness and joy. His birthday is literally on Children's Day. Like there's a holiday called Children's Day. That's Luffy's birthday. Like he's like a fairy tale like celebratory hero character for kids, like a role model shonen protagonist for kids. Like, and he's like so representative of like joy and happiness. And Oda has made him like a household character. I don't think Oda is going to kill him at the end of the story just for that reason alone. Aside from all the other plot reasons, also going into the plot, like I don't think Luffy can surpass Roger if he just simply dies at the end of his adventure. I would be fine with Luffy living. He doesn't have to be immortal. I don't think Luffy has to have infinite years. I think Luffy can die just like anyone else by living out his life. But I think Luffy's life being cut short in some sort of dramatic death right at the end of the story when he's like, what, 19 years old? 20 years old? To me, I just feel like that's not really a win. He doesn't even get to enjoy being Pirate King at that point, and maybe that's not his goal, but then what is his goal at the end of the adventure, you know? But that's a whole other discussion. But the point is, that part of the theory I don't necessarily agree with, but in terms of the video editing, like, let me just finish this out.
Anyways, guys, I just wanted to share my thoughts about all of this, and apologies about the gloomy ending and the possible spoiler of the end of One Piece. See you in 5 years when we will discuss this again. But yeah, I have a lot of other ideas that I would absolutely love to discuss and share with you guys about the Ancient Kingdom, about the Void Century, about the Will of D, and a lot of other stuff. But you just
Johnny
let me know in the
Sins.
comments below if you'd actually want me to create more content like this. Thank you guys very much for being an awesome One Piece community, and I'll see you all very soon.
Well, I'm going to call you Call D Hawk. Call, thank you, bro. Thank you for the generous donations in the stream today. You didn't have to do that to get your video out there, but I do appreciate it. And I mean, it obviously got me to watch this, and I'm glad I did. I thought you definitely have some great sense for a beginner. Like, for someone that hasn't, I'm assuming you haven't made YouTube content prior to this. You have good sense. There's like some editing bits that I liked. I will say there's some parts of the video where the editing's a bit choppy. You can see some artifacting here or there. I don't know what video editor you're using, but if there's a way to, you know, fix that in the future, that'd be good. There's just like a few spots where the edits aren't exactly clean, or the images you're placing on screen, like one's really small on one side and one's really large on the other. Like, I don't know, maybe that's just me. It's by no means like a rule or anything, but I think it's better to keep things more symmetrical and visually pleasing. Don't have one element be really small in the corner with a lot of empty space and then another element take up half the screen. Like, it's good to kind of balance the screen elements. You want to keep people's eyes. You don't want to have people's eyes darting around the screen when they're watching your video. You want to have them planted to some degree. So, yeah, that's the only other piece of advice I could give. The theory delivery, I mean, you kept it interesting. I would definitely say, especially as a bigger or as a newer channel looking to grow, it doesn't hurt to throw in a call to like and subscribe somewhere in your video. Sometimes people just don't do it. They forget. I've had comments from people telling me they forgot to subscribe to me and they couldn't find my videos again after watching it once, because I guess it came up on their recommended. They never saw me before. They watched the video and then didn't sub. Yeah, people forget. So sometimes, like, throwing in a reminder, hey, like and subscribe, it'll remind people, and then they might be like, oh yeah, you know what, I like this video, let me give it a like, let me subscribe. But the way you spoke, the way you narrated the video, all sounded good. Keep it up in that regard. I think this theory, you know, it's a short one, but it's a good place to start. And definitely starting with like shorter videos is probably the move as a new channel. I'd say shorter but more frequent uploads is better, because you get to learn more. Like, the shorter your videos are, but the more often you're uploading, if you don't do what I did, which is like make 30-minute videos and take like a month between all of them, sometimes those videos don't hit, and then it's like all that work is for nothing. So you don't want to get stuck in that trap. What you want to do is definitely make more videos like this, 10-minute bangers, 15-minute bangers, make them, you know, consistently, pretty often. And in the process of doing that, you're going to learn a lot about editing. You're going to learn about how to refine your style. You're going to learn about things that you want to add to your style to make it more unique and visually entertaining. You know, mess around, experiment with things. You're going to be able to do that if you make volume content. Obviously, everyone has a different choice as to how they want to go about making videos. But if you like this style and you like making these like shorter 10-minute videos as opposed to these like long, in-depth 30-minute analysis or theories like I do, that's totally fine. Then what I would say is make more of these. Make more of them more consistently. And I think, one, it's going to help you with getting your videos out to people in the algorithm, and it's going to help you learn. The more you upload, the more you learn. Every single time you upload a video and you watch those analytics to see how it's doing and like what worked, what didn't work, viewer retention, things like that, those are all going to be learning experiences for you. So I would just say the important thing is getting that stuff out there. Definitely shorten up the intro. Your goal is to hook people. Your goal is to hook people. If you're not going to upload frequently, then the piece of advice I could give you is, if you're going to go my route and you're going to upload infrequently, then what you need to do is make sure that whatever you do upload is an absolute banger. You do not want to... You want to edit that shit like your life depends on it. You want to make it as entertaining as you can, as well thought out as you can, because when you don't upload frequently, every upload really counts in terms of growing your channel. So... you're going to have misses, you're going to have hits, you're going to have some videos that blow up, some that you think are going to blow up that don't, and some that you don't think are going to blow up that do. So, just the only way to figure those things out is to just keep making stuff. But I liked what I saw today. You seem like a cool guy, so I'll give this a like and subscribe for you. And if you guys want to be like me and you want to support Call D Hawk, if you liked what you saw, if you thought that he has the makings of a solid One Piece YouTuber, if you saw if that was your favorite theory you've ever seen, whatever, I'm sure you've already subscribed at that point. But yeah, if you're interested in supporting Call D Hawk here, if you want to support him on his journey into YouTube, help him grow as a channel, maybe it'll encourage him to keep working harder and making more videos and pumping out more stuff and growing the channel. Go over, check his channel out, give him a subscribe, give this video a like, give him that nice, that early boost. We did that for Tainted Marth a while back. And I know that Marth has been cooking. He's been making videos since then. He's been doing great. He's really getting up there. I think he's done some collabs too. He started to do chapter reactions now. So he's really cooking. He's really doing some good stuff with his channel. And that I think was partially possible because a lot of you guys out there gave him a chance. When we checked out his video, you gave him a chance and you went and subbed and you supported his early work and his growing stage of YouTube. And I think that was really helpful for him. And I appreciate all you guys for doing that. And if you like this video, I would urge you to do the same for Call D Hawk. Give him a sub, show him some support, and then peep when he uploads next. Let's see if the next one will learn from this video. So I hope that feedback was valuable. I did my best to give as much good beginner advice as I could. Don't get too hung up on every little video, how it performs or whatever. And I will say that it's definitely important to, it's definitely important to just, first and foremost, love for the series, like you spent time talking about. Love for the series comes first. And if you love the series and you keep reading and you keep analyzing, the good ideas will come. And just because a video doesn't necessarily do well doesn't mean it's not a good idea. Sometimes it might be the presentation. Sometimes it might just be the title. Sometimes it might be the thumbnail that people didn't click with. But just take everything one step at a time. Keep working at it, and I think you'll get some results, brother. So let me just send a link. I'm going to send a link to his channel. I'm going to send a link to his channel in the chat here. There you guys go. So go sub, peep that video, show it some love. And yeah, that's pretty much what I can say. Another piece of advice, I don't know if you'll get to this point, but you'll at some point as the channel grows, you'll probably get comments, people in the comment section, they say some shit like they roast your theory or whatever. They're not a fan of how you talked about their favorite character. Best piece of advice I could give for that is just don't let it get to you. And anything else I can think of, any other, just ignore that shit. Comments boost your video, so it's always good to for people to comment. And any other things, any other piece of advice I could give? I don't know. That's it. I think that's it. I hope you liked it. Appreciated the advice. Best of luck, bro. Next time, maybe in a few months when you've made some progress, you've made some videos, you've gained some experience. A few months from now, if you feel like you've leveled up as a YouTuber, you want to do a round 2, bring another video on theory review, I'd be happy to check it out. So, let's see what you guys are saying. Love you too, Fuego. Appreciate you, homie. Vargon says, making a theory channel is too intimidating to me. I don't like the idea of putting my heart and soul into a theory only to find out I was totally wrong and I did it publicly. I guess that's a way to look at it. For me, I think the most important part is having fun with it. The only way to get good at anything is to enjoy the process, right? You can't get good at making videos, or you can't get good at discussing or making One Piece theories unless you're not afraid to take those L's, bro. The reality is, like, no matter what you do in life, you're going to take an L. No matter how hard you work, you're going to take L's. If you're afraid of that, then you're never going to accomplish anything. And I'm not saying that to like say you are not going to accomplish anything. I'm just saying if you approach things like, I can't do it, or like it would, just because, if I'm wrong or if I take this L on my idea, like, don't worry about that. Don't worry about the if I'm wrong part, right? Because then if you it's like the whole thing. It's like you miss 100% of the shots you don't take, right? That's how the quote goes. That's the way I see it. Is like you're worried about taking the L and being wrong, but I feel like what's a bigger L to me? Not putting a theory out there and having it be wrong. Is having a theory you want to put out there and then deciding against it, and then it becomes true. And then you could have been the guy that put the idea out there or called it first, but you didn't because you decided against it, and then you ended up being right anyway. To me, that's always been a fear factor, where it's like, oh man, I want to make this video, but I don't know, I don't really trust in the idea. But then the thought hits me like, wait, what if this ends up being true and I just chose not to fucking get, that hurts me. I'm like, I want to be the first one there. So like the way I see it is like, yeah, man, don't get too caught up in like whether or not it's going to work out or whether or not you're going to be proven right or wrong. The thing is just having fun. As long as you have fun making the theory and that you believed it at the time when you posted it and you did your best to support your case, that's all anyone could ask for. People come back to my old videos that have already been proven wrong. They come back to my old theories. Totally wrong. Proven wrong. And they still leave nice comments because there's still enjoyment to be had there. So he said, I did put my theory out there, though, just in case it's on your Discord. I just don't want to make a YouTube channel. That's totally fair, bro. In that case, I'll definitely check out the theory. Maybe next theory review will work in like if it's a good one, I'll bring that in and I'll share it with the class. So with that being said, we have been streaming for a whole 4 hours. That is crazy. So I just want to say to everyone that's been here for the whole 4 hours, thank you. You guys are absolute troopers. Appreciate you very, very much for even just watching the stream 5 minutes, let alone 4 hours. So thank you. And thank you for all the generous donations from everyone, the gifted memberships. Welcome to all the new members. And we're going to be ramping things up soon. We're going to be ramping up the streams. I'm going to be trying to do more event streams. And I think the next event stream, like the next Monday stream, because I want to do Monday streams more consistently. The next one, I think this next Monday, what we'll do is maybe I'll do a brainstorming stream. Like it's a stream dedicated to brainstorming future streams, and then you guys can join me on that. I don't know, just a thought. But we'll be doing like fun new streams in the future. So I'll be seeing you guys on Thursday, right? For the chapter reaction. So I'll see you guys for the chapter. Spoilers are out there. I'm going to jump off the internet now and not get spoiled. So I'm going to be gone until Thursday, but I will see you guys then. Once again, thank you guys for being here. I hope you all have a wonderful, wonderful rest of your day, a good night, and a fantastic romance dawn. Take care, guys, and I'll see you later.